but a killer nonetheless. Then I remember. The system gave me notifications during the fights that I never checked. Militia job experience. 121 from Scarface. Militia job experience. 129 from Blackbeard. Basic swordsmanship experience. 121, 129. My militia class jumped to LV3, 328 out of 500. More than halfway to the next level from 2 fights. That's more experience than weeks of training. Real combat. Life or death combat. Where the enemy actually wants to kill you and you actually kill them. That's the ultimate experience multiplier. Nothing else even comes close. I glance over at Anna, curled up in a tight ball, sleeping like someone who's never felt safe a single day in her life. And despite the fact that there is a girl in my room, the mood is about as romantic as a funeral home during a power outage. If I'm being honest about attractive women, my brain involuntarily summons the image of Lady Clea's athletic figure, those long springy legs, that hunting outfit hugging every. Focus, Rain. People died tonight. Read the room. Oh, and about Scarface. I suddenly remember. That's the guy on the wanted poster. 5 Imperial gold coins. And Blackbeard was his boss, which means he's probably worth even more. I might be rich. Next morning, I come downstairs for breakfast with Anna, and my parents' faces cycle through approximately 17 emotions in 3 seconds. Dad's eyebrows, confused, suspicious, amused. Mom's expression, surprised, knowing, smile, delighted. Mint, why? Anna, big sister, is here. Father, some strangers were lurking around Anna's house last night. With the child disappearances going on, I brought her here for safety. She'll stay with us for a while. Half true. Close enough. Dad looks at the blushing girl, looks at me, and grins. Sure. Lucky boy. Rain, you better treat Anna well, Mom says with the most loaded smile in human history. Anna's face turns so red, she looks like she might spontaneously combust. Her forehead is practically touching the table. Mother, we are not what you're imagining. Oh, really? Then why did she sleep in your room last night? Because she was scared. Dad cuts in with his serious face. Rain. A man must take responsibility. Anna is a good girl. Don't you dare mistreat her. Great. Wonderful. My parents think I brought home a girlfriend. They think their 13-year-old son is in a relationship with the neighbor girl because she slept in his room one night after I murdered 2 criminals in her house. The real story. I killed 2 wanted felons with a hammer and a sword, then carried the traumatized victim next door. The story my parents believe. Our son is growing up. Young love. Wedding bells. Grandchildren. I cannot correct this misunderstanding right now without explaining the double homicide. So I just sit there eating breakfast and taking the parental teasing like a man. After breakfast, I flee to the town administrative hall to collect my bounty. A guard announces me, a servant leads me through, and I walk into Sheriff Hamilton's office. It's a clean, well-lit room, about 50 square meters, with deerskin chairs, bookshelves lining the walls, and a massive redwood desk buried under a mountain of parchment scrolls. Hamilton is sitting behind the desk, reading case files. He looks up and gets straight to business. Sit down, Rain. I'm reviewing a case file. Give me a moment. I sit and study the room while he reads. The stack of scrolls on his desk is enormous. Every single one appears to be an unresolved case. Then Hamilton puts down his scroll, looks at me, and says something I wasn't expecting. Rain, you're growing faster than I anticipated. How about joining my night watch team? He gestures at the tower of paperwork. See all these? Every single one is an unfinished case left behind by my predecessor, Kuzma, that incompetent fool. The security situation across the entire Meister County is deteriorating. I'm severely understaffed. Then he starts listing problems like a man drowning in work. 2 days ago, 3 miners disappeared in the Elim mine southwest of town. Something unidentified is living in the tunnels. The search team only found blood. Yesterday, my guards spotted evil fin fishmen upstream at Shimmer Lake, which is our water supply. These disgusting creatures contaminate everything they touch. But I don't have enough men to drive them out. Evil fin fishmen? Contaminating the water supply? Monsters in mines? Fish people in the drinking water? This town isn't just dealing with human criminals. There are actual monsters causing problems, and the sheriff doesn't have enough soldiers to handle them. And he wants me, a 13-year-old who just committed his first homicide 12 hours ago, to join his night watch? I mean, A night watch job would probably trigger a new job panel. That is tempting. But more importantly, did someone mention bounty money? Sheriff Hamilton, about that reward for last night's criminals. He gives me that same cryptic half-smile from yesterday. Want the bounty? Come find me at the administrative hall tomorrow. Why does that smile make me feel like collecting my bounty is going to come with strings attached the size of anchor chains? After thinking it over for about half a second, I decide that Hamilton's night watch offer isn't for me right now. Why would I leave my cushy setup at Habsburg Manor where the Count's daughter is personally feeding me super bear meat and teaching me ancient breathing techniques? Trading Clea's private sword tutoring for night patrol duty would be like leaving a Michelin restaurant to work at a gas station. Hamilton reads my "thanks but no thanks" expression instantly, but instead of getting mad, he pulls a gray pouch from his desk drawer and tosses it to me. Here, bounty payment. 5 gold for Scarface, 10 for Blackbeard. 15 Imperial gold coins total. 15 gold coins. I snatch that bag out of the air, so fast it probably breaks the sound barrier. My fingers close around it like a dragon clutching its firstborn treasure egg. He didn't even try to withhold it. I refused his job offer, and he still paid me in full. No guilt trips. No. Well, actually, no bureaucratic runaround. My opinion of Hamilton just went up by about 300%. This man has integrity. But my happiness lasts exactly 4 seconds. Rain, I should warn you. Scarface was a nobody. But Blackbeard, he has an older brother, the leader of the hyena gang in Meister County. Very powerful. He slides me a case file. I start reading. And with every line, my face gets more serious. The hyena gang has hundreds of members. They do everything. Theft, extortion, protection rackets, kidnapping women and children. The usual supervillain resume. But the real problem is the boss, a man nicknamed Dog King Cole, who somehow tamed a mutant hyena queen the size of a wild boar. He bred an entire litter of combat hyenas and distributed them to his top lieutenants. With these hyenas, which are way stronger than normal dogs, the gang rapidly became the dominant criminal organization in the entire county. And apparently they've got connections to some noblemen in the capital. I just killed the crime boss's little brother. The crime boss with a mutant hyena army. Oh no. I'm not afraid for myself. I can run. I can hide. I've got the manor to retreat to. But my family? Dad with his bad back? Mom working part-time at the inn? 7-year-old Mint? They can't fight a hyena gang. I look up at Hamilton. He's watching me calmly, waiting for me to connect the dots. And I do connect them. This is why he showed me the file. He wants me to realize that I need his protection. He's not threatening me. He's showing me reality and letting me come to the obvious conclusion on my own. Smart. Very smart. And annoyingly effective. Sheriff Hamilton, since you brought this up, I assume you have a solution? A flicker of appreciation crosses his eyes. He probably expected me to panic. Instead, I'm sitting here negotiating like a tiny corporate lawyer. He opens his mouth to respond, then stops. His eyes suddenly narrow, and he leans forward, studying me with an intensity that makes my skin prickle. Rain, you've been practicing a night breathing method. My stomach drops through the chair. How? How can he tell? Is it written on my forehead? Turns out my eyes are bright and focused, and my breathing is steady and powerful. Apparently the telltale signs of someone who's recently started breathing technique training. This man has been a knight long enough to recognize the symptoms at a glance. I keep my face neutral and say nothing. Poker face activated. Hamilton doesn't push it. Instead, he starts deducing. Out loud. Like a medieval Sherlock Holmes. You've been at Habsburg Manor for training. So someone there taught you. It must be either Knight Lloyd the butler or sword instructor Perez. He's got the logic perfect. He nailed every step of the reasoning. Except he picked the wrong people at the end. He doesn't suspect Clea, because why would a count's daughter personally teach a peasant trainee? It's too improbable to guess. I'm sorry, Sheriff. I promise to keep that secret. Huh? Good boy. Loyal. He waves it off, not offended at all. Then he drops a bomb of his own. You should know. The Habsburg family is tearing itself apart from the inside. The Count's 2 sons are fighting each other for power. The youngest daughter, though, she's a prodigious knight talent. Became a full knight 2 years ago. The old Count adores her. Internal family war. The 2 brothers are fighting for succession, and Clea, the brilliant youngest daughter, is caught in the middle. That's why she told me to keep the breathing method secret. If either brother's faction found out she was privately training a commoner as her personal follower, they might see it as Clea building her own power base. And they might come after me to weaken her. My blood goes cold. I'm not just a trainee anymore. I'm a chess piece in a noble family's power struggle. Hamilton continues. The eldest son, Alonso, has ties to the Wilderness Brotherhood. The Wilderness Brotherhood, the same organization that was buying kidnapped children, the same people Scarface and Blackbeard were working for. So the Count's eldest son is connected to child traffickers? This family drama just went from reality TV to criminal conspiracy. Rain, you're talented. Join the Night Watch. Serve the Empire. It's your best option. Hamilton stands up, locking eyes with me. And then he plays his trump card. If you join the Night Watch, I can justify deploying officers to patrol your neighborhood and protect your family. Against the hyena gang, the Night Watch will be your shield. That hits different. Not my career prospects. Not my advancement. My family's safety. He knows exactly which button to press. I'm wavering. Badly. Seeing me still hesitating, Hamilton sweetens the pot again. Training a breathing method is expensive, Rain. You know this. But your 2 bounty kills totaled over 10 gold coins. That meets the minimum threshold to apply for an Imperial Bounty Hunter license. Bounty Hunter license. Wait, can't anyone kill a wanted criminal and collect the reward? Hamilton smiles. There's clearly more to this bounty hunter thing than I thought. My brain is spinning. Hamilton isn't just offering me a job. He's building an entire ecosystem around me. Protection for my family. Legal authority to hunt criminals. A source of income to fund my training. And all he wants in return is my cooperation. This man isn't a sheriff. He's a recruitment genius. And those 15 gold coins in my pocket suddenly feel like both the best and most complicated thing that's ever happened to me. Sorry, Sheriff Hamilton, bounty hunting needs a license. Hamilton chuckles and drops a knowledge bomb that completely rewrites my understanding of this world's social system. If you're a noble, no license needed. Kill whoever's on the wanted list, collect your gold. Done. But for a commoner who wants to make bounty hunting a regular income source, the license changes everything. First, it lets you carry weapons in public, day and night. Without it, Imperial law says commoners can only keep weapons at home. Get caught with a sword on the street? That's a crime. Hold on. I've been walking around town with weapons multiple times now. I've been breaking the law this whole time. Nobody told me. Second, once your total lifetime bounty earnings exceed 100 gold coins, you can apply for a mid-tier bounty hunter certification. That gives you the right to ride horses. Carrying weapons and riding horses? Those are noble privileges. Regular commoners can't do either, and bounty hunters get both? This world really does run on one rule. Power equals status. If you can kill wanted criminals, society upgrades your social class. And I happen to have one recommendation slot available, Hamilton adds casually. My brain is doing backflips. Licensed weapon carrying. Future horse riding rights. Legal income to fund my training. This is incredible. But I hesitate, because I already promised Clea I'd become her follower. If I join the Night Watch too, wouldn't that be cheating? Serving 2 masters? Sheriff Hamilton, I'm very grateful, but I already promised someone I'd become their follower in the future, so... Hamilton laughs. Big, booming, genuine laughter. That's what you're worried about? Rain, there's zero conflict. Every noble's followers ultimately serve the Dragonar Empire and our Emperor. Having an official government position actually makes you more valuable to your lord, not less. He points to himself as proof. I'm the town sheriff and a follower of Marquis Cadden. My government role is a bonus in the Marquis's eyes, not a problem. My jaw drops. You can do both? You can have a noble patron and a government job? I was thinking in terms of my old world's feudal system. My vassal's vassal is not my vassal. But this Dragonar Empire is way more centralized than medieval Europe. The Emperor is the ultimate boss. Everything feeds upward. Then Hamilton drops another piece of advice that makes my ears perk up. Have you done the formal Oath of Allegiance ceremony with your patron yet? No, not yet. Clea said I'd need to become a full knight first. Then aim higher. Try to swear your oath as a guardian knight, not just a follower. The difference? You can be a guardian knight to many people, but you can only be a follower of one. Think about what that means for your freedom. Guardian knight versus follower. Multiple employers versus exclusive loyalty. More flexibility versus more commitment. This conversation alone is worth more than the 15 gold coins in my pocket. Every sentence Hamilton speaks tears down another wall of ignorance I didn't even know existed. This is what class barriers look like. It's not just money and power, it's information. The knowledge gap between commoners and nobles is massive. Thank you for explaining all this, Sheriff Hamilton. I accept your offer to join the Night Watch. However, I'm still in the middle of my trainee program at the manor. Can I officially join after it ends? Of course. The Habsburg training program is excellent. You'll even get archery training there, which you need. Hamilton clearly knows the training curriculum inside and out. Archery. That's one of the Knight Squire prerequisites I'm missing. The training program will literally hand me the skill I need. But if I need you for something urgent before then, you respond immediately. Absolutely, Sir Hamilton. We part on good terms. I walk out of the administrative hall with 15 gold coins hidden in my clothes, feeling like the richest 13-year-old in the county. But the hyena gang situation keeps nagging at me. Blackbeard's big brother, Dog King, Cole, commands hundreds of criminals and a pack of mutant battle hyenas. And I just killed his baby brother. More power. Need more power. Always more. But first, I have money now. For the first time in this life, I'm not broke. Time to put it to work. I've already got my cover story planned. I gave Sheriff Hamilton a key tip about the child disappearances, and he rewarded me with 2 gold coins. Also, he offered me a night watch position after my training ends. 2 coins is enough to significantly improve my family's quality of life without raising suspicion. The remaining 13 stay hidden for training expenses. And the night watch news means my parents won't worry about my career prospects anymore. Stress levels drop, everyone's happy, and I can focus on getting stronger. But right now it's not even 9 in the morning. I've got the whole day ahead of me. Where should I go? The blacksmith shop. And this time, I'm not going as a free volunteer. This time, I have money. I can finally pay that greedy miser Boris to teach me real forging techniques instead of just pulling bellows until my arms fall off. Yes, the tuition is steep, but if learning to forge gives me massive experience boosts for my blacksmith apprentice class, it'll be worth every copper. I practically JOG to the blacksmith shop, already calculating the cost-benefit analysis of. I burst through the door, the familiar wall of forge heat slapping my face, and spot Boris at his anvil hammering away at. Horseshoes. He's making horseshoes. My eyes light up like someone just plugged me into the electrical grid. Horseshoe forging plus my existing hoof trimming skill? That's the complete package. I already know how to trim hooves and nail shoes. Now I can learn to make the shoes themselves. That covers the entire horseshoe workflow from raw iron to finished product. And since forging horseshoes is directly related to blacksmithing, way more than pulling bellows, the experience gains should be enormous. I pat the bag of gold coins in my pocket and grin. Time to make Mr. Cheapskate an offer he can't refuse. I watch Boris work his magic, heating an iron bar in the forge until the center glows white hot, pulling it out, brushing off impurities, then dunking it in water for quenching. The bar gets hammered and reheated over and over until it curves into a crescent moon shape. A horseshoe being born right before my eyes. Drillis spots me and waves excitedly. Rain, here to pull bellows again. Sorry, Drillis. Not today. His face falls like a puppy watching its owner leave for work. I walk straight up to Boris and point at the horseshoe he's making. Mr. Boris, I want to learn that. How much? Boris looks at me like I just told him I want to buy the moon. You have money? You're not my official apprentice. Learning horseshoe forging as a special student isn't cheap. And just because you volunteered before doesn't mean I'm giving discounts. Classic Boris. The man would charge his own mother for a glass of water. Of course, Mr. Boris. How much? 1 month of horseshoe forging instruction. 12 silver coins. If you can't learn it in a month, that's your problem. No refunds. The other apprentices exchange looks that say, this kid is about to get embarrassed. There's no way a farmer's son has 12 silver coins. And honestly, 12 silver is insane. The average working man in Shining Gold Town earns 2 to 3 silver per month. Boris is charging 4 months' salary for 1 month of instruction, with no guarantee of results. And no refund. This man doesn't run a blacksmith shop. He runs a scam with an anvil. For reference, the Dragonar Empire currency system works like old British money. 1 gold coin equals 12 silver coins. 1 silver equals 20 shillings. 1 shilling equals 12 pennies. 1 penny buys you a 1-pound loaf of rye bread. So 12 silver is basically 1 gold coin. And I have 15 gold coins burning a hole in my pocket. I put on my best, this physically hurts me, expression, which isn't entirely fake because spending money genuinely does cause me pain, and pull out a single gold coin. Boris's eyes go wide. A gold coin. From the farm boy. Deal, mister. Boris. I spin him a cover story. My family saved up specifically for my blacksmith training during the manor program. They want me to learn as many skills as possible. Boris buys it completely. He even gets a little emotional. Your old man really believes in you, huh? Work hard, kid. Don't be like my useless son who ran off to the county capital to mess around. Can't even find him now. Wow. Even Scrooge McDuck has feelings about his children. Almost makes me feel bad for calling him a miser. Almost. Here, Rain. Help me with this. Boris hands me a heavy blacksmith's hammer. The instant my fingers close around that hammer, ding. Detected that host has touched blacksmith apprentice advancement medium. Blacksmith's hammer. Prerequisites for advancement to blacksmith. 1. Blacksmith apprentice LV3 at max level. 2. Strength 6, Constitution 6. 3. Successfully forged 10 qualifying blacksmith products. Current conditions, not met. Advancement failed. A promotion path, just like the Knight Squire requirements. Touching the blacksmith hammer triggered the advancement conditions. Let me check the boxes. Blacksmith Apprentice LV3? I'm at 265 500ths, not maxed yet. Strength 6? I'm at 7. Check. Constitution 6? I'm at 6. Check. Forged 10 qualifying products? 0 out of 10. That's the bottleneck. But now I know exactly what I need. Max out my level and make 10 items. Simple. Boris starts teaching me the teamwork part of horseshoe making. He holds the heated iron crescent with tongs in his left hand and positions a chisel-like tool on top with his right. My job is to swing the hammer down on the chisel at the right rhythm, punching grooves into the hot metal. These grooves help the horseshoe grip mud and dirt, traction control, medieval style. Despite being an absolute pirate with his pricing, Boris is actually a great teacher. He explains timing, force distribution, angle of impact, all while working at full speed. Every word is practical gold. You performed horseshoe forging. Related comprehension improved. You have learned a new skill, horseshoe forging. Your horseshoe forging skill has improved. Experience 2. You focused on horseshoe forging. Blacksmith apprentice job experience 5, plus 5 job experience. Bellows pulling gave me 1. Actual forging gives me 5. That's 5 times faster. This is the power of paying for education. The difference between free volunteering and paid instruction is massive. The experience per hour just went through the roof. But there's a problem. We forged several horseshoes together, and they all come out great. But the system doesn't count them as MY products because Boris did most of the work. Makes sense. I was basically the hammer robot, while he did all the skilled parts. So horseshoes won't fill my forge 10 qualifying items requirement. I need something I can make entirely by myself. Something simpler. Something small. Something that still counts as a legitimate blacksmith product. Wait. Horseshoe nails. Those little specialized nails that hold the horseshoe to the hoof. They're small, relatively simple, and they're definitely a real blacksmith product. There's even an old saying from my past life. For want of a nail, the kingdom was lost. Horseshoe nails are essential equipment. During a break, I ask Boris, can I learn to forge horseshoe nails first? Boris gives me a weird look. Why would anyone prioritize nails over the more prestigious horseshoe itself? But he shrugs. Nails are part of the package anyway, and the order doesn't matter. I take position at the anvil and start hammering out nails under Boris's guidance. My first attempts are hideous. Crooked, bent, lumpy little disasters that look like modern art instead of hardware. But with every attempt, the system feeds me experience, my hands get steadier, my timing improves, and slowly, beautifully, qualifying nails start emerging. And yes, the system counts horseshoe nails as legitimate blacksmith products. Qualifying items, 1 out of 10. February 10th. March 10th. I go berserk. I'm hammering nails like a machine gun firing bullets. Sweat flying, sparks showering, hammer rising and falling in a hypnotic rhythm. The other apprentices stop and stare at this crazed teenager who is making horseshoe nails with the passion of a man forging Excalibur. Boris watches me with total bewilderment. This kid is obsessed with nails. What kind of weird fetish is this? He shakes his head and mutters, "Strange hobby. You don't understand, Boris. Every nail is a step toward class advancement. These aren't nails. They're keys to my future. By lunchtime, I've done it. Qualifying blacksmith products. 10 out of 10. Complete. Blacksmith Apprentice LV3. 500/500. Max level. Both conditions met. At the same time. In one morning. The promotion to blacksmith is ready. Boris charged me 12 silver coins for 1 month of lessons. I completed the requirements in 4 hours. Best investment I've ever made. The system prompt appears. All conditions met. Advanced to blacksmith? Yes/no. Note. The new blacksmith job panel will replace the old blacksmith apprentice panel. Is this even a question? Yes. Yes. I hit yes so hard my mental finger breaks. Ding. Advancement successful. Advanced to blacksmith. Strength 2. Obtain blacksmith core skills. Blacksmith's Might LV1. One-handed hammer mastery LV1. Core. Skills. Not regular skills. Core skills. A whole new category. The icons on my panel are literally twice the size of normal skill icons, glowing with importance. And strength +2? Not 1, 2. Every previous level up only gave me 1 measly free attribute point. This single class advancement just doubled that. My strength rockets from 7 to 9, blowing past my spirit stat to become my highest attribute. 9 points of strength. The average adult man is 6. I'm 50% stronger than a grown man. I might even edge out Hamilton's elite night watchman. I mutter a quick excuse to Boris about lunch and sprint out of the blacksmith shop. I duck around a corner into an empty alley and tear open my panel. The old blacksmith apprentice page is gone, replaced by a shiny new blacksmith panel. And there, glowing at the bottom, 2 oversized core skill icons. First one, a little figure flexing a bicep like Popeye after eating spinach. Core skill, Blacksmith's Might LV1. Active, effect. When activated, your strength increases slightly. Note, boost scales with your base strength. Duration scales with constitution and spirit. An active power-up skill. I can temporarily make myself even stronger on demand. Like a buff spell in a video game that I can pop before a fight. The second core skill, Hammer Mastery, is passive, meaning it's always on. Any hammer I pick up, any size, feels like a natural extension of my arm. Which means my carpentry hammer assassination technique from last night would be even more devastating now. But first, I need to test Blacksmith's Might immediately. I find a boulder on the roadside. Half my height. Probably 200 or 300 pounds of solid rock. Let's go. I squat, grab the boulder, and heave. With strength 9, it actually comes off the ground. My face turns red, veins bulging, but I'm holding this monster rock at waist height. A week ago, I couldn't hold down a donkey leg. Now I'm doing deadlifts with boulders. But I can't get it overhead. Not quite enough juice. Time for the special sauce. I activate Blacksmith's Might. Whoosh. A surge of heat explodes from my chest. My blood accelerates. My muscles swell. Veins pop out across my arms like a road map of pure power. My shoulders, biceps, forearms, everything inflates like someone's pumping me full of hydraulic fluid. I check my stats. Strength 9, 1.8, almost 11 total. That's nearly double a normal adult. With a primal roar, I don't even plan. I hoist the boulder over my head and launch it forward. It sails through the air and crashes into the dirt 5 meters away, leaving a crater. The feeling that rushes through me is indescribable, pure, raw, masculine ecstasy. This is what power feels like. This is what it means to be strong. I want to find more boulders. I want to throw bigger ones. I want to. The warmth fades after about 30 seconds. Okay, so the duration isn't great yet. But as a surprise attack or finishing move, 30 seconds of near superhuman strength is plenty of time to ruin someone's day. I check the sun. Oh no, it's way past noon. I'm late for lunch. Mom is going to be more dangerous than any wanted criminal. I sprint home and burst through the door, sweating and panting. Where were you? At the blacksmith shop again, Mom asks with that concerned but slightly annoyed mom voice. I nod, wiping sweat with the towel she hands me. I'm trying to figure out how to tell them about the night watch job when Dad suddenly speaks up. Rain, come here. That's unusual. Dad rarely initiates conversations. I follow him to his room. He opens his battered nightstand and pulls out a bundle wrapped in gray linen. Inside, 2 slightly worn gold coins and about a dozen silver coins. My parents' entire savings. The family treasure. Everything they've scraped together over years of backbreaking labor. Dad hesitates, then picks up both gold coins and holds them out to me. Rain, I know you've been going to that miser Boris's shop, but volunteering won't get you anywhere with him. Not without paying tuition. Father, he raises a hand. I shut up. Your mother and I discussed it. These 2 gold coins should be enough to learn 1 or 2 forging techniques from Boris. It might help you pass the blacksmith exam at the manor. The rest, he gestures at the silver coins, stays here. For food. You and Mint are growing. You need proper nutrition, white bread, meat, eggs. I look at this man. This quiet, weathered, sun-darkened farmer with too many wrinkles and not enough years. He's handing me his life savings. 2 gold coins that probably represent years of sacrifice, every skipped meal, every unmended shirt, every luxury denied. And he's giving them to me. For blacksmith lessons. Because he believes in me. My throat closes up. I can't speak for several seconds. Then I firmly push his hand and his gold coins back. Father, you and Mother don't need to worry about my future anymore. His eyebrows shoot up. I provided important intelligence about the child disappearance case to the new Sheriff Hamilton. He's promised me a position in the night watch after my training ends. Before he can respond, I pull out 2 shiny, brand new gold coins from my own pocket and place them in his calloused palm. This is Sheriff Hamilton's reward for my help. Please keep this for the family. Better meals. 3 times a day. I don't give him all 15 coins because that would be impossible to explain with. I gave a tip about missing kids. 2 coins is believable. 2 coins is enough to transform our family's diet. The other 13 stay hidden for training expenses. What? The door bursts open. Mama's been eavesdropping this whole time, and she can't contain herself anymore. Rain, is this true? Of course. If you don't believe me, go ask Sheriff Hamilton yourself at the administrative hall. Praise the goddess of fortune. Mom bursts into tears of joy, praying and crying simultaneously, alternating between thanking every deity she knows and wiping her eyes with her apron. At lunch, Dad does something I've never seen. He opens several bottles of dark rye beer. Multiple bottles. For a man who normally treats a single cup of milk like a luxury, this is the equivalent of ordering champagne at a 5-star restaurant. Then he tries to make me drink with him. Rain, you're a man now. Hick about you and Anna. Hick whatever you decide. Your father supports you. Hick, father. That's not. Anna and Mint are sitting across the table watching this unfold with identical confused expressions. Anna catches the meaning behind Dad's drunken rambling, and her eyes meet mine for exactly 0.2 seconds before we both look away like we just stared into the sun. She drops her head so fast her chin nearly hits the table, her pale face flooding with crimson. Dad is drunk. Mom is crying happy tears. Mint is confused. Anna is mortified. And I'm sitting here, a 13-year-old double murder bounty hunter secret night trainee blacksmith, wondering how my life got so complicated so fast. I advanced a job class, gained superpowers, made my parents cry with joy, and got unofficially engaged to my neighbor. All before 2 p.m. Not bad for a Saturday. After lunch, Anna pulls me aside with pink cheeks and fidgeting fingers. Rain, can we talk in the room? She wants to go back to her own house. Living with my family is apparently overwhelming. Not because they're mean, but because they're too nice. Mom keeps giving her food. Dad keeps making drunk speeches about our relationship. Mint keeps hugging her. It's death by hospitality. I want to go home. Can't do that. Sorry. Why not? Her eyes go huge, and her brain clearly starts spiraling into territory that has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. The guy I killed, Blackbeard, his brother runs the hyena gang. He might send people to investigate. Your house is a crime scene. It's not safe. Anna goes white as a ghost. The romantic fantasy she was accidentally building in her head collapses like a house of cards in a tornado. I calm her down by explaining the night watch situation and Hamilton's protection. She eventually nods. I'll help around the house, and I'll keep Mint company. That's perfect. Mint adores you. At the mention of my little sister, Anna's eyes crinkle into little crescent moons. Those two are basically best friends already. Things will get better, Anna. I promise. She looks at my face, apparently finding whatever she needs there, and nods firmly. She's known me for barely 2 weeks, but somehow trusts me completely. I'm not sure if that's touching or terrifying. On the way to the blacksmith shop, I finally check my second core skill. Hammer Mastery LV1. Passive when using any hammer-type weapon. Damage is slightly increased. That's situational. I've been training swords this whole time. Do I need to learn hammer combat techniques now too? This doesn't exactly help me in my current fighting style. Still, between the two strength, the active blacksmith's might skill, and the passive hammer mastery, this class advancement was absolutely massive. No complaints here. I check my full stat sheet. Name: Reincarnated Jobs. Blacksmith LV1, 1/100th, / Militia LV3, 328 500ths. Constitution, 6 Strength, 9 Agility, 8 Spirit, 8 remaining attribute points, 0 remaining skill points, 9 Strength, 8 Agility, 8 Spirit. My physical stats have gone from malnourished noodle to above-average adult warrior in less than a month. The transformation is insane. I notice both core skills have LV labels, but NO experience bars underneath, which means they probably can't be leveled through practice, only through skill points. And skill points are already the scarcest resource in my entire system. I stare at that lonely 1 next to remaining skill points. The temptation to spend it is agonizing. Upgrade Blacksmith's Might for more power, save it for Giant Bear Breathing Method to skip the hardest training phase, or bank it for some future unknown need. I clench my mental fists and hold. Not yet. Not until I know exactly where it'll give maximum value. At the blacksmith shop, I spend the entire afternoon learning horseshoe forging from Boris. With my strength at 9, the work that used to exhaust me is now almost easy. Boris has to do less and less as I pick up technique rapidly. But the experience gain is disappointing. Only 5 for the whole afternoon. Turns out advancing to blacksmith means the old beginner-level work gives way less experience. Makes sense. A real blacksmith doesn't level up from making horseshoes anymore. I need harder projects. That's a problem for later. Right now, it's getting dark and I need to head back to the manor. Next morning, new week, new training module, archery. And the instructor is my old buddy Humbert. Apparently, he teaches both swords and bows. Double duty. This man is the Swiss Army knife of medieval combat instructors. We march to the northwest corner of the outer bailey where 10 practice targets stand in neat rows. Under a rain shelter, an arsenal of bows. Short bows, war bows, and long bows taller than most of the trainees. Everyone pick a bow that matches your strength, plus a quiver, Humbert bellows. The kids swarm the rack. Most grab short bows because their arms are made of wet tissue paper. The fake rich kids, being bigger, select standard war bows. I pick a war bow too, medium draw weight. I could easily handle the heaviest one in the rack with my strength 9, but I deliberately choose something weaker. No need to advertise that I've somehow become stronger than every adult in this training program. Thick Eyebrows notices my bow selection and does a double take. Wait, that bow has a higher draw weight than mine. Since when is that skinny runt stronger than me? But he doesn't say anything. Just turns away with a dark expression. I think the memory of me knee-striking his dinner out of his stomach is still keeping him polite. Oh, and speaking of thick eyebrows, he's still wondering what happened to Drunk Jack. It's been over a week and his hired thug just vanished. He's currently thinking, that useless drunk probably found some widow to spend my 15 silver on. He'll show up eventually. He always does. Buddy, your guy is in a jail cell. And the sock he tasted during his interrogation has probably given him lifelong PTSD. He's not coming back. Ever. Now, about archery. I want to be good at this. I need to be good at this. It's one of my Knight Squire prerequisites. Archery LV2 or higher is on the checklist, but I absolutely cannot spend a skill point on it right now. The point shortage is too severe with core skills demanding investment. I have to grind this one the hard way. And the hard way is hard. After a full day of shooting, my archery sits at a pathetic basic archery LV1, 8 out of 100. 8 points. In an entire day, hitting a target with an arrow is nothing like swinging a sword. Swordsmanship is about muscle memory and reflexes, things my system accelerates beautifully. But archery requires steady hands, breath control, wind reading, range estimation, and about 10,000 repetitions before your body even starts to understand what aim means. Humbert watches me all day, clearly expecting me to pull another secret genius moment like I did with swordsmanship. I don't. I'm average. Maybe below average. My arrows go everywhere except the center of the target. The disappointment in his eyes physically hurts me. But you know who's thrilled? Thick eyebrows. He's grinning like he just won the lottery. His internal monologue is practically visible. Rain's archery is garbage. The guard exam tests both swordsmanship and archery. My second best swordsmanship plus my best archery equals a higher combined score than Rain's first place swordsmanship plus his dead last archery. I've got this in the bag. Enjoy your moment, Richard. Because while you're celebrating my bad aim, you have no idea that I've already advanced to a full blacksmith class, gained 2 core skills, killed 2 wanted criminals, earned 15 gold coins, started learning a night breathing technique from the count's daughter, and been recruited by the town sheriff. But sure, focus on my archery scores. That seems like a solid strategy. Evening. Archery training done. Time for the real training. My secret sessions with Lady Clea. After some breathing method practice, Clea leads me through the door at the back of her study into a private training room I've never seen before. 200 square meters of pure combat paradise. Swords, great swords, shields, bows, practice dummies, and target posts lining every wall. This girl has her own personal GYM inside the castle. Rich people problems. Where should I put my second weapons room? We start sparring, and clang. Our swords collide, and Clea actually shifts backward. Not a full step, maybe half, but her chestnut ponytail swings, and her eyes go wide. Rain, your strength increased this much. Oh no. I forgot. My strength jumped from 7 to 9 after the blacksmith advancement. That's a massive leap. And I just swung at Clea with full power because I haven't calibrated my new body yet. She matched my old strength level, and suddenly I'm hitting like a truck. Clea's perception is razor sharp. She noticed immediately. Those big brownish-gray eyes are boring into me like X-ray machines. Think fast, Rain. Think fast. Haha. Probably because the giant bear breathing method suits me really well. I say, touching my nose in the universal gesture of, I'm totally not hiding a massive secret. Clea's eyebrows narrow. But you're only on the second pose. I've never seen someone's physical abilities jump this much from barely starting the method. Although, she pauses, thinking, the giant bear method is focused on strength and constitution development. And while extremely rare, there are documented cases across the empire where someone's body was uniquely compatible with a specific breathing method. She's basically talking herself into an explanation for me. Thank you, Lady Clea. Please continue convincing yourself. You might be the first case in Meister County, but it has happened elsewhere. Nailed it. She bought it. My body is specially compatible excuse worked. But that look she gave me for a split second, like she could see straight through my skull into the floating transparent panels behind my eyeballs, made my heart skip about 3 beats. Note to self, control your strength output around perceptive people. Then Clea says something that makes me forget all my worries. Well, this changes things. I was going to leave you a scroll for later, but since your body is developing so fast, I'll teach you the giant bear breathing method's companion sword technique directly. The giant bear swordsmanship. Giant bear swordsmanship. A real combat sword style. Not basic militia garbage. An actual night-level fighting technique that's paired with my breathing method. A complete combat system. Clea explains, giant bear swordsmanship originated from mimicking the claw strikes of supernatural bear creatures. It emphasizes overwhelming power and unstoppable momentum. The weapon of choice is a heavy 2-handed greatsword. This means the user needs significant strength just to wield it properly. Without breathing method training, even the strongest normal human can't swing a 30-plus pound sword effectively. So that's why she didn't teach me this earlier. Before my blacksmith advancement, my strength was only 7. I literally didn't qualify. She was planning to leave the scroll for me to study later, maybe months later, once the breathing method naturally boosted my stats high enough. But my totally normal and not at all suspicious strength jump moved up the timeline by weeks. With your current strength, you should be able to handle the lightest greatsword here. 36 pounds. I walked to the sword rack. These two-handed greatswords are enormous. Crossguard hilts, blades over 4 feet long, built to cleave through armor and bone. I grabbed the lightest one. 36 pounds of steel. It's heavy. Even with strength 9, my swings aren't exactly graceful. But I can move it. I can fight with it. Barely. Clumsily. But it's possible. Clea picks up a greatsword of her own and begins demonstrating. Giant Bear swordsmanship has 5 forms. First form, Fury Slash. Her expression goes from beautiful noble girl to terrifying warrior goddess in 0 seconds flat. Those powerful legs launch her forward like a leopard pouncing. One explosive step covers several meters, and her greatsword comes down on a practice dummy in a devastating overhead cleave. Crack! The ironwood dummy splits in half, clean through the middle. 2 pieces topple in opposite directions. And she wasn't even trying hard. That was a demonstration, not a full power strike. The difference between basic swordsmanship and this is like comparing a firecracker to a missile. Your turn. I take a breath, step forward, raise the greatsword overhead, and slam it down on a wooden target post with everything I've got. Thunk! The blade sinks about 3 inches into the wood. Dotting gets stuck. I tug. It doesn't move. I pull harder. It wiggles slightly. The sword is embedded in this practice dummy like Excalibur in the stone, except way less heroic and way more embarrassing. Uffed! Clea laughs. Not her usual elegant chuckle, a genuine, uncontrollable, body-shaking laugh. Her shoulders tremble. Her ponytail bounces. She covers her mouth with one hand, but the giggles keep escaping. This is the first time I've seen Clea laugh like a normal teenage girl instead of maintaining her perfect noble composure. She's always been the picture of aristocratic grace and battlefield intensity. But right now, watching me stand there with my sword jammed in a wooden dummy like a failed lumberjack, she's losing it. My face is burning red, but honestly, seeing her laugh like that, kind of worth the humiliation. Rain, haha. When you swing, your wrist is too tense. Fury Slash isn't about brute force the whole way through. Keep your grip loose during the swing, and only clench and snap your wrist at the exact moment of impact. That creates a whipping force that follows through instead of getting stuck. She glances at my embedded sword again, and her lips quiver with suppressed laughter. Okay, I get it. I mumble, yanking the sword free. Using a greatsword is completely different from a single-handed sword. Different muscles, different timing, different physics. Everything I learned in basic swordsmanship needs to be recalibrated for this heavier, slower, more devastating weapon. After multiple attempts under Clea's patient and occasionally giggly guidance, you practice giant bear swordsmanship. Related comprehension improved. You have learned a new skill, giant bear swordsmanship. Your giant bear swordsmanship skill has improved. Experience 1, Giant Bear Swordsmanship LV1, 1/100th, appearing on my militia panel. The skill icon is, I kid you not, a bear holding a greatsword. A cartoon bear, wielding a sword, as my skill icon. This system has a sense of humor. But what I don't know, what I can't know, is that while I'm down here learning to swing oversized swords and making Clea laugh, something darker is happening upstairs. On the 2nd floor of the castle, in a shadowed room, a large man in gray plate armor is standing at attention, delivering a report to a noble boy with cold, sinister eyes. The report is about me. Someone in this castle is watching, and they're not smiling. What I don't know while I'm downstairs learning to swing oversized swords is that upstairs in this very castle, a snake named Dennis is plotting my destruction. Apparently his personal knight, a quasi-knight named Rurals, has been spying on me this whole time. He's figured out that Clea is giving me special training sessions and that she values my sword talent. Dennis is the son of Baron Norman, the same guy who got verbally destroyed by Clea for calling commoners lowborn, and apparently, he has a massive obsession with Clea. He's been pursuing her romantically, followed her all the way to Habsburg Manor, and has made absolutely zero progress. How zero? Well, Clea once told him, beat me in a sparring match and I'll consider it. He lasted 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Same as me on my first try. Except I'm a peasant who started training 2 weeks ago, and he's a level 3 knight squire who's been training since birth. We got the same score, and he has years of advantage. That's not a flex for me. That's an insult to him. So now Dennis is sitting in his fancy chair, tapping his armrest with his creepy pale fingers, and coming up with a plan. Does he decide to confront me directly? No. Too risky. That might anger Clea. Does he send his quasi-knight bodyguard to handle me? No, too obvious. Instead, this snake decides to leak the information about Clea training me to Clea's eldest brother, Alonso. The same Alonso who Hamilton told me has ties to the Wilderness Brotherhood, the child trafficking criminal organization. Dennis's logic: if Alonso finds out his little sister is building a personal faction by training commoner followers, he'll see it as a threat to his succession bid and take action against me. And Dennis keeps his hands perfectly clean. Borrowed knife kills. Classic villain strategy. The fate of that commoner, named Rain, should be quite entertaining. Ha ha ha. Dennis literally laughs like a cartoon villain while saying this. His bodyguard Rurls compliments him like a sycophantic yes-man. Young master, your wisdom is truly unmatched, because apparently medieval bootlicking sounds exactly the same as modern corporate bootlicking. Then Rurls awkwardly brings up the question his father Baron Norman keeps asking. So, any progress on the romance with Lady Clea? Dennis's face goes dark. This is his wound. His trauma. His 3-second shame. He tried persistence. He tried following her everywhere. He tried being romantic. Nothing works. He can't use force because Clea became a full knight at age 15 and would literally beat him into the ground. She's about to leave for the Imperial Royal Academy, and he still hasn't even held her hand. Frustrated and humiliated, Dennis does what pathetic men throughout history have always done. He takes it out on someone weaker. He calls in a servant girl named Tina. She has a face that vaguely resembles Clea, about 70% similar. Rurls searched the entire county to find her. Her own father sold her to Dennis. She thought she was becoming a noble's personal maid. A step up in life. A fairy tale beginning. It became a nightmare on day one. She's not a person to Dennis. She's a punching bag shaped like the girl he can't have. Every time his ego takes a hit, every time Clea rejects him, every time he feels powerless, Tina pays the price. I don't know any of this is happening. I'm downstairs getting my sword stuck in wooden dummies and making Clea laugh. But the gears of fate are turning. Dennis is feeding information to Alonso. Alonso has connections to criminal organizations. And somewhere in this castle, a girl who looks like Clea is crying silently into a rolled-up piece of parchment. This world isn't just monsters and magic. The real evil wears silk and sits in fancy chairs. Meanwhile, back in MY World, the world of training montages and experience points, Clea has been teaching me giant bear swordsmanship at breakneck speed over 3 days. She taught me 3 forms already: Fury Slash, Jump Slash, and Cleaving Slash. I've only really gotten comfortable with Fury Slash. The other 2 are still rough, clumsy, and about as elegant as a drunk bear falling downstairs. I'm pretty sure Clea is rushing because her departure date is approaching fast. She wants to cram as much knowledge into my brain as possible before she leaves for the Imperial Royal Academy. My giant bear swordsmanship is at LV1 with the icon of a bear holding a great sword. And honestly, every time I see that little cartoon bear, I can't help but smile. Whoever designed this system had a sense of humor. The experience gains from sparring with Clea continue to be astronomical. Every session with her is worth days of solo practice. She feeds me attacks at perfect difficulty, corrects my form in real time, and pushes me exactly to my breaking point without going past it. She's the perfect teacher, and she's leaving soon. That thought sits in my stomach like a cold stone. Today, Clea's expression shifts to something more serious. Rain, today I'm teaching you the guard form, the only defensive technique in giant bear swordsmanship. Come, attack me. The final lessons are beginning. And somewhere upstairs, the information about my existence is about to reach very dangerous ears. The clock is ticking. Clea tells me to attack her so she can demonstrate the guard form's second variation. I charge in with a cleaving slash, greatsword arcing down at 45 degrees with everything I've got. Clang. She raises her sword overhead and catches my full power strike on the strong part of her blade, near the crossguard. Doesn't budge. Doesn't flinch. Her ponytail bounces once, and that's it. I put my entire body behind that swing, and this girl absorbed it like I threw a pillow at her. Guard form has 2 variations, she explains calmly, like she didn't just tank a hit from a guy with strength 9. First variation is the standard block using the strong blade section. Same concept as single-handed swords. Second variation is different. Thrust at me. I stab forward with a stepping thrust. My blade rockets toward her chest. Cling. She plants her greatsword vertically into the ground like a wall. My sword tip hits the blood groove, that channel running down the center of the blade, and gets caught in it. My thrust stops dead. The blade doesn't slide sideways, doesn't scrape past toward her body. It's just trapped. Pure defense. She didn't even try to counterattack, and my sword is stuck in a groove like a train on rails. See? When an enemy attacks with fast thrusts, blocking with the strong section becomes very difficult. But using the blood groove to catch their blade tip? Much more reliable. However, immediately after blocking, you must counterattack. Giant bear swordsmanship is not a defensive style. Your goal is to use overwhelming aggression to break the enemy's rhythm and force them to defend. This makes perfect sense when I think about it. 5 forms in total: Fury Slash, Jump Slash, Cleaving Slash, Guard, and the still unlearned Whirlwind Slash. 4 out of 5 have slash in the name. This is a style built for one thing: hitting people really hard with a really big sword, over and over, until they stop moving. Defense is just a brief interruption before you go back to violence. After 3 days of intense sparring with Clea, my militia class has leveled up again. Militia LV4, 18 1000s, another attribute point and skill point banked. I'm saving both the attribute point because adding stats fully restores my stamina, emergency heal button, and the skill points because I genuinely cannot decide between upgrading core skills or pushing through the hardest breathing method poses. Then Clea stops my practice and says something that makes my ears perk up. Rain, the last thing I'm teaching you today is the giant bear swordsmanship secret technique. Secret technique? The giant bear method isn't exclusive to the Habsburg family. It's widely known among imperial nobility. But only families who've studied it for generations can develop unique secret moves. Today, I'm teaching you the Habsburg family's original creation, Roaring Strike. It requires immense lung power to simulate the sonic shockwave of a real supernatural bear's attack, combined with Whirlwind Slash, sound attack plus physical attack. A combo finisher. If 2 fighters are evenly matched, and one suddenly blasts a sonic shockwave at the other's face, that split second of disorientation is all you need to deliver the killing blow. Let me demonstrate. Ready yourself. I grip my greatsword, blade angled upward at 45 degrees, feet planted. Ha-yeah! A wall of sound erupts from Clea's mouth and hits me like a physical force. My face ripples from the wind pressure. My eardrums stab with pain. My brain turns to static. Everything goes blurry and buzzy for about half a second, and when my vision clears, Clea's greatsword is resting gently against my neck. I didn't even see her move. Half a second of disorientation, and she closed the distance and killed me. Uffed. She laughs at my dazed expression again. This girl keeps finding new ways to make me look ridiculous, and she clearly enjoys it. Ahem. So, Rain, did you feel the power of Roaring Strike? As a woman, I'm actually at a disadvantage with this technique. And I don't even use the giant bear breathing method. So that was just a simulation. A simulation. That brain-scrambling sonic blast was her doing it badly, with the wrong breathing method, as a female with naturally smaller lungs. If a male knight who'd mastered the giant bear breathing method used this at full power, my eardrums would rupture. I'd be bleeding from my ears and completely incapacitated. In a real fight, that's not stunned for half a second. That's dead before you hit the ground. For the first time, I truly understand why constitution matters. High constitution means resistance to stuns, disorientation, and abnormal status effects. It means faster physical recovery. It means enduring things that would shut down a weaker body. My constitution is only 6. Average. Against a technique like Roaring Strike from a real master, I'd fold like wet cardboard. The giant bear breathing method isn't just about getting stronger muscles. It's about building a body that can survive in the world of the extraordinary. Then I notice Clea putting her sword back on the rack. Something about the gesture feels final. Rain, I'm returning to the county capital tonight to see my father. A pause. Tomorrow morning, I leave Meister County for the Imperial Royal Academy. The words hit me like one of her fury slashes. She's leaving. Tomorrow. I knew this was coming. She told me it was coming. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it actually happen are 2 completely different things. In the span of a few weeks, This girl gave me everything. A breathing method, a sword style, a secret technique, rage bear meat, black tongue oil, private combat training, real tactical wisdom, and, most importantly, she gave me a chance. A shot at becoming something more than a tenant farmer's son who trims donkey hooves. Without Clea, I'd still be grinding hoof experience and dreaming about a guard position. She saw potential in me when nobody else did. She invested in a peasant boy when she had nothing to gain and everything to lose. And now she's walking away. To the Imperial Royal Academy, the most elite institution in the entire Dragonar Empire, where she belongs. And I'm staying here, in Shining Gold Town, with my cartoon bear sword icon and my 9 points of strength and a list of Knight Squire requirements that still has more red X's than green checks. My throat tightens. Not because I'm in love. I'm not delusional enough to think a farmer's son and a count's daughter are in the same league. But because she believed in me. And now the person who believed in me most is leaving. The training room feels emptier already. Today's training ends here. If you need anything after I'm gone, contact Shadia. Shadia nods at me from the corner. My future point of contact. My lifeline after Clea leaves. But before she goes, I have one burning question. Lady Clea, is the night path the only way to become extraordinary in this world? She laughs like I just asked if the sky is the only thing that's blue. Of course not. There are many paths to the extraordinary. The various churches each have their own supernatural paths, but those require becoming a devoted believer of a god. Not exactly free of strings. The night path is the most stable route. It relies primarily on your own body's potential, requires the least external dependency, and is the most accessible to ordinary people. She explains that night breathing methods originated from humanity's ancient study of ferocified beasts, normal animals that mutated under mysterious influences and gained superhuman strength, speed, and recovery. Basically, animal versions of knights. Knights and ferocified beasts walk the same path, breaking through physical limits. Humans use breathing methods. Animals rely on talent or bloodline. Then she does something that makes my eyeballs nearly pop out of my skull. Her arm, her slim, elegant, feminine arm, suddenly bulges. The muscles swell to nearly double their size in an instant. Her hunting jacket sleeve stretches tight, like a sausage casing about to burst. Veins ripple under the skin. Then, just as quickly, it shrinks back to normal. Slim and graceful again, like nothing happened. What? The actual. She just went full Hulk mode for 2 seconds. Her arm turned into a bodybuilder's arm, and then went back to supermodel proportions. That's not muscle. That's shapeshifting. That's the power of a formal knight. Breaking through the body's physical limits. We call it limit break. Long ago, it was actually called ferocification, same as the beasts. But people renamed it to distinguish humans from animals. So becoming a real knight means you can temporarily transform your body to produce force beyond normal human capability. That's what lets Clea swing an 80-pound greatsword like a twig. She's not just strong. She can break the rules of how strong a human body should be. And she achieved this at 15. This girl is on a completely different level from anything I imagined. Well, I need to go now. She glances out the window. Night is falling. Rain, this world is far wider than you imagine, and far more dangerous. I've taught you the giant bear breathing method and giant bear swordsmanship. Work hard. She pauses. Her brownish-gray eyes hold mine for a moment. I hope that in 1 year, you can bring me a pleasant surprise. 1 year. That's my deadline. That's my promise. She smiles, a real, warm, genuine smile, flicks her chestnut ponytail, and walks out the door. Her silhouette disappears into the castle darkness like a shooting star fading from view. And just like that, my teacher is gone. The room feels enormous and empty. The practice dummies stand silent. The great swords on the rack catch the candlelight and gleam, waiting for a hand that won't be coming back for a long time. 1 year. I have 1 year to become someone worthy of that smile. What I don't know is that at this exact moment, in the county capital, inside the Habsburg family mansion, a man named Alonso is finishing dinner. And by finishing dinner, I mean he just ate an entire rack of beef ribs, then used a silver knife to cut through the bones like butter and sucked out the marrow. This dude just ate bone like it was a breadstick. Because he's a formal knight and his jaw strength could probably crush a car door. His butler, Michel, waits until the maids leave, and then delivers the news that Dennis's spy network just provided. Sir, your sister Clea appears to have cultivated a personal follower at Habsburg Manor. A farmer's son with sword talent. Alonso sips his red wine. Doesn't even look up. When does Clea leave for the capital? Within 3 days, sir. Otherwise, she'll miss the Royal Academy's opening ceremony. A casual nod. A casual sip. And then, with the same tone you'd use to order a sandwich, then let's give my dear sister some face. Wait until she's gone. Then, Michelle, erase this farmer's son. Erase. Not investigate. Not warn. Not deal with. Erase. Like I'm a pencil mark on parchment. Yes, Baron. Michelle is about to leave when Alonso adds one more thing. What about the Black Flame prayer ceremony? When can it be held? There have been some complications, sir. Certain materials are taking longer to gather due to increased security attention. Tell them to hurry. I've waited long enough. Black Flame prayer ceremony. Materials that need to be gathered secretly. Increased security making it difficult. Remember those kidnapped children? The ones being collected for the Wilderness Brotherhood? Remember how Hamilton said Alonso had ties to the Wilderness Brotherhood? Those are the materials. Alonso retreats to his study and starts spinning a silver family crest between his fingers, a diving eagle with spread wings and grasping talons. Not a regular eagle. A Cali bird, a supernatural raptor with a 13-foot wingspan that hunts like a fighter jet. The Habsburg family crest. His birthright. The inheritance he's terrified of losing. Because here's Alonso's problem. He's the eldest son, which traditionally means first in line to inherit. But in this world, if the strength gap between siblings is too large, birth order doesn't matter anymore. His half-brother Descartes is already serving in the imperial military. Rising star. Bright future. His half-sister Clea became a formal knight at 15 and got accepted to the Imperial Royal Academy. Generational genius. And Alonso? He didn't reach formal knight until nearly 30. Years behind both siblings. Weakest of the three. And his relationship with them has been terrible since childhood. Partly his mother's doing, and now impossible to fix. The man is desperate. His inheritance is slipping away. His siblings outclass him in every measurable way. And his solution? A secret occult ritual from a criminal organization that kidnaps children. He squeezes the family crest in his fist. I hope the Black Flame prayer ceremony lives up to the legends. So let me get this straight. There's a hit ordered on me by a baron who eats bones for dinner. His spy network already knows my identity. Clea, my only powerful protector, is leaving the county tomorrow. And the man who wants me dead is involved in child sacrifice rituals. I'm standing in an empty training room admiring my new sword skills, completely unaware that the countdown to my assassination just started. 1 year to impress Clea. But first, I need to survive the week. I'm sleeping peacefully in George's dormitory, the one I transferred to after the thick eyebrows brawl, when the entire Habsburg Manor explodes into chaos. Let me piece together what happened from what I learned afterward, because I wasn't in that room. And thank God I wasn't. Deep in the Nightsong Forest west of Shining Gold Town, there lives a species called gnolls, hyena-headed humanoid monsters. And one particular gnoll named Savage Claw just had a very bad day. Savage Claw is massive, over 7 feet tall, 350 pounds, towering above the average gnoll. He was the leader of a lowland gnoll pack. Life was good. Eat, sleep, boss around smaller gnolls, repeat. Then a bigger gnoll showed up from the deep forest. 7'4", even more terrifying. Challenged Savage Claw to a duel for leadership. Savage Claw lost. But he didn't die, because this gnoll has a special ability. When he goes all out, a faint blue energy surrounds his body that eliminates air resistance. This makes him insanely fast and erases his scent completely. Perfect stealth predator. Even the winner didn't want to chase him down. So Savage Claw leaves his pack, alone and hungry, and heads east, toward civilization, toward Shining Gold Town. Because Savage Claw has tasted human meat before. 3 times. And he remembers. Particularly human females. Soft, tender, juicy, he thinks. Red liquid bursting with every bite. This thing doesn't see humans as people. We're food. And he's been craving his favorite dish for a long time. He sneaks past the night watch patrols. His scent erasing ability makes him nearly invisible to detection, and finds his way to a large fenced area with an open field. The Outer Bailey. of Habsburg Manor, where the trainee dormitories are. He smells something that makes his massive throat bob with hunger. Young humans, many of them, packed together, sleeping. Baby meat, he thinks. The most delicious kind. He watches the patrol patterns. Armed guards pass by at regular intervals, guys in chainmail with shields and swords. Savage Claw isn't afraid of them individually, but he knows that if he fights them, they'll scream, which brings more guards, which might bring the iron-skinned men, the knights. And knights are dangerous. Some are as strong as him, maybe stronger. So he waits, patient, like a predator. When the patrol passes, he makes his move. In the dormitory, my old dormitory, the one I was transferred out of, the trainees are asleep, exhausted from archery training. Snoring fills the room. Thick Eyebrows is lying awake, still stewing about drunk Jack's disappearance and his failed revenge plot, when he hears the door bang open. Who the hell is slamming doors at this hour? He grumbles. Then he hears chewing. Not quiet, sneaky, midnight snack chewing. Crunching. Wet, heavy, bone-splitting crunching. Like something is eating. Something that has bones inside it. Coming from the beds near the door. Wait, whose bed is by the door? That used to be my spot, before I transferred out. Now someone else sleeps there. Thick Eyebrows sits up and squints toward the entrance. A mountain of shadow is crouching by the doorway. Something enormous, hunched over, holding a long object and shoving it into its face. The blood smell hits him like a freight train. The long object is a human leg. In the faint moonlight, Thick Eyebrows can make out the shape. Humanoid, wearing scraps of leather armor and chainmail, fur covering every exposed surface, and instead of a human head, the massive, elongated skull of a hyena. Jaws dripping red, eyes gleaming in the dark. A gnoll, a 7-foot-tall, 350-pound gnoll, eating a trainee. Right there, in the doorway, 6 beds away from Thick Eyebrows. 6 beds. His brain does the math in real time. There are 6 people between me and that thing. It's eating the one by the door. If it's still hungry after that, there are 5 more before it reaches me. If it eats 2, there are 4. If it eats 3, his hands are shaking so badly the bed frame rattles. Mom, please. I don't want to die, Dad. What do I do? For all his bullying, his scheming, his tough guy act, Thick Eyebrows is a 13-year-old kid staring at a real monster eating his classmate. His brain is breaking. Then he remembers the patrol. The guards pass by every few minutes. They were annoying before. Their heavy footsteps always woke him up. But right now, those footsteps are the most beautiful sound in the universe. He listens, straining his ears past the horrible wet crunching sounds. 1 minute. Nothing. 2 minutes. Nothing. Every second feels like an hour. The chewing continues. Then there. Heavy, rhythmic boot steps. Getting closer. Thick Eyebrows uses every ounce of air in his lungs. Help. There's a monster. Freckle-faced jolts awake next to him. Are you crazy? What are you yelling about? Then the smell hits. Then the sound. Then every single trainee in the room sits up and sees the silhouette by the door. 7 feet of hyena-headed nightmare. Holding a half-eaten human leg. Blood and shredded flesh hanging from jaws wide enough to crush a watermelon. Absolute. Screaming. Pandemonium. Savage Claw is annoyed. His plan was simple. Eat 2 kids quietly. Take 2 more for tomorrow. Leave before anyone notices. But this screaming baby just ruined everything. He grabs the nearest trainee by the door. A boy who's completely frozen with terror, tucks him under one arm like a grocery bag, and charges through the wooden door. The door doesn't open. It disintegrates. Wooden planks explode outward like shrapnel. 2 guards who were rushing to the door get hit by a 350-pound hyena man battering ram and are launched 7 or 8 meters through the air. Savage Claw vanishes into the night with a stolen child under his arm. By the time I'm awake and out of George's dormitory, the entire Habsburg Manor is lit up like daytime. Torches everywhere. Guards running in every direction. Shouting. Orders being barked. And from the other dormitory, the one I used to sleep in, I can hear crying. Lots of crying. 2 trainees are dead. 1 is missing, taken by the creature. And one of the dead boys was sleeping in my old bed. The bed I would still be in if Thick Eyebrows hadn't bullied me into that fight that got me transferred to George's room. Let that sink in for a moment. Thick Eyebrows' bullying saved my life. If he hadn't made my life miserable, If the steward hadn't moved me to a different dorm after our brawl, I would have been the one sleeping by that door. I would have been the first one eaten. The universe has the most twisted sense of irony. The second thick eyebrows screams, "Monster, I'm wide awake." Not groggy awake. Not, "What time is it?" awake. Combat awake. My enhanced hearing caught both words crystal clear. Help and monster. I shake George so hard his teeth rattle. Wake everyone up. Now. Then I sprint to the door and peer outside toward the opposite dormitory. For a moment, everything seems weirdly quiet over there. I'm confused. If there's a monster, where's the commotion? A 5-man patrol squad comes rushing past, boots pounding toward the other dorm. And then, my heart seizes. My scalp goes numb. My pupils shrink to pinpoints. A massive black shape explodes out of the opposite dormitory. The wooden door doesn't open, it detonates. Planks and splinters blast outward like shrapnel from a grenade, peppering the incoming guards. 2 soldiers get body-checked by this thing and go flying 7 or 8 meters through the air like ragdolls. Without breaking stride, without even slowing down, this enormous humanoid shadow grabs a shirtless, skinny trainee under one arm like a loaf of bread, vaults over the outer Bailey fence, and sprints into the darkness. The speed. I've watched Olympic sprinters on TV in my past life. Usain Bolt at full tilt. This thing is faster. Significantly faster. It cleared the fence and vanished into the night like it had a rocket strapped to its back. In the moonlight, I caught a glimpse of it. A muscular body covered in coarse fur, thick hairy arms, and a head that was definitely not human. It was a hyena. A hyena head on a 7-foot humanoid body wearing scraps of leather armor and chainmail. A gnoll. A ferocified gnoll. The fantasy world equivalent of a superpowered monster that eats people for dinner. And it just ate 2 trainees and kidnapped a third. From the dormitory right across from mine. The dormitory I used to sleep in. The bed by the door, my old bed. That's where the first victim was. If Thick Eyebrows hadn't bullied me. If I hadn't punched him in the stomach. If the steward hadn't transferred me to George's dorm. I would have been the appetizer. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. My bully accidentally saved my life by being such an insufferable jerk that I got relocated to the safe dormitory. But right now I'm not thinking about irony. I'm thinking about what I just saw. That creature was stronger than me. Faster than me. It smashed through a wooden door like tissue paper and sent armored soldiers flying like toys. If it had chosen this dormitory instead, if it had come through our door, what could I have done? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. With all my stats, all my skills, all my training, I would have been helpless. Maybe I could have reacted faster than the other kids. Maybe I could have dodged the first grab. But kill that thing? Fight that thing? With my current power? Not a chance. I've been feeling pretty good about myself lately. Strength 9. Blacksmith core skills. Giant bear swordsmanship. Killed 2 wanted criminals. I was starting to think I was somebody. This gnoll just reminded me that I'm nobody. In this world, danger doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't check your level before attacking. It just comes. And if you're not strong enough when it arrives, you die. No continues. No respawns. No, try again later. My face is stone. But inside, I'm a hurricane. I need to be stronger. Faster. Not, eventually, not, according to schedule, now. The manor erupts into full emergency mode. Torches blazing everywhere. Guards in chainmail with swords and shields pouring in from every direction. Some are bringing greyhound tracking dogs, who immediately pick up the gnoll's scent trail and direction. But nobody pursues. They're waiting for someone. Then he arrives. A tall figure in heavy plate armor with a black cloak billowing behind him. Every guard snaps to attention. Lord Lloyd, the manor butler. The actual knight who runs Habsburg Manor. The moment he walks in, the chaos instantly transforms into order. That's the power of a real knight. Not just combat ability, but the sheer presence that makes panicking soldiers stand straight and think clearly. Status report: 2 trainees dead. 1 missing, presumed abducted. Based on witness accounts and the massive footprints at the scene, the attacker appears to be a wandering gnoll. Extremely large. Ferocified, Knight Lloyd examines the dormitory entrance. A gaping 3-meter-tall hole where the door used to be, surrounded by jagged splinters. This thing didn't open the door. It turned the door into confetti by running through it at full speed. Then another heavyweight arrives. Instructor Perez, the sword master for the noble trainees. Full plate armor, radiating the quiet confidence of a man who's killed things I can't even imagine. Lord Lloyd, this appears to be a ferocified gnoll. Extremely rare. Your recommendation? Don't pursue at night. The forest after dark is their territory, not ours. We could encounter something even worse than the gnoll. I recommend full lockdown until dawn, then coordinate with Sheriff Hamilton for a joint search. Even knights don't want to fight this thing in the dark forest. The night belongs to the monsters. Going in there would be suicidal even for superhumans. Lloyd nods and starts issuing orders. Reinforce all vulnerable locations, servant quarters, stables, animal pens. Send a rider to Shining Gold Town immediately to warn them. The gnoll might head there looking for easier prey. Then Humbert, our sword instructor, jogs over to us trainees with an urgent expression. Training is suspended. All of you are going back to town. Right now. The logic clicks in my brain immediately. With a ferocified gnoll loose in the area, keeping dozens of defenseless trainees at the manor is a liability. If more kids die, Lloyd takes the blame. Better to send us home, where we're at least behind town walls, not sleeping in wooden shacks next to a monster-infested forest. A squad of armed guards escorts all of us through the dark roads back to Shining Gold Town. Nobody talks. Nobody jokes. The only sounds are boots on dirt and the occasional choked sob from a kid who just watched a classmate get eaten. George walks beside me, pale as milk, occasionally glancing over his shoulder at the dark tree line like he expects a hyena head to burst out at any moment. I walk in silence, jaw clenched, mind racing. 2 trainees dead. 1 kidnapped. A ferocified monster that's faster and stronger than anything I can currently fight. An assassination order from Baron Alonso that I don't even know about yet. A bully's hired thug in a jail cell. A crime boss whose brother I killed. A noble stalker feeding my identity to my enemies. And Clea, my teacher, my sponsor, my shield, left tonight. I'm on my own now. 1 year to become a knight. But first, I need to survive tomorrow. The night air is cold. The stars don't care. And somewhere in the Nightsong Forest, a 7-foot hyena man is having his midnight snack. Welcome to the extraordinary world, Reincarnated. It's trying to kill you. Knock, knock, knock. Dad opens the door, and there I am. His son, who's supposed to be safely tucked away at the manor for another week, standing in the cold night air looking like I just saw someone get eaten alive. Because I did. Rain? What happened? Why are you back? I decide to tell the truth. This news is going to spread across town by morning anyway. And more importantly, Dad works at a farm outside town. If a 7-foot hyena monster is prowling the countryside looking for human snacks, farmers working alone in fields are basically buffet items. Father, a gnoll attacked one of the trainee dormitories tonight. 2 dead. 1 kidnapped. Dad's face goes white. He knows what gnolls are. Saw one once when he was young. These things are supposed to stay deep in the forest. They're not supposed to come here. But Knight Lloyd and Instructor Perez are handling it. The town has been notified. It should be resolved soon. I deliberately leave out the part about this being a ferocified gnoll with strength that rivals a formal knight. Telling my family that particular detail would accomplish nothing except giving everyone nightmares for a month. Mother, do not go to the forest for firewood tomorrow. Stay inside town limits. Father, don't go to the farm either. Just for a day or 2. All right. Whatever you say. Dad nods without argument. Ever since I told him about the night watch position, Dad has been treating me differently. Like I'm not a kid anymore. Like I'm someone whose judgment actually matters. My words carry weight now, and it feels both wonderful and heavy at the same time. I head upstairs to crash for what's left of the night. Anna moves in with Mint's room. I get my old room back, and I'm just getting comfortable on the mattress when knock, knock, knock. Are you kidding me? Dad checks the door crack, sees 3 men in black leather armor carrying torches, and opens up immediately. Night watchman. I come downstairs and recognize the squad leader. He's the one whose patrol route covers MY neighborhood. We've crossed paths before. Rain, we're short-handed tonight. Sheriff Hamilton is ordering you to join our patrol in this area. I don't hesitate for even a second. This is MY neighborhood. My family lives here. If that gnoll decides to come hunting in the south side of town, I want to be out here with a weapon, not lying in bed waiting to hear screams. Give me 2 minutes. Don't bother going upstairs for equipment. We brought everything. The watchman behind him steps forward and hands me a full night watch kit, black leather armor, a bow with arrow quiver, and a hand-and-a-half sword. I strap everything on. The leather armor fits surprisingly well for something assembled on zero notice. The hand-and-a-half sword, the same type of weapon I've been admiring on watchmen for weeks, sits perfectly on my hip. When I'm fully geared up, I catch my reflection in the window. If you ignore the slightly too young face and the fact that I'm shorter than everyone else, I look like a legitimate night watchman. The real deal. Mom appears at the stairs, wrapped in a shawl, worry etched into every line of her face. Rain, be careful. She was so happy when I told her about the night watch job. A government position. Stable income. Her son has a future. But now, watching her 13-year-old strap on a sword and walk into the darkness toward a man-eating monster, the reality of what, night watchman, actually means just hit her like a brick. I'll be fine, mother. I promise. And out the door I go. Into the night. With 3 armed veterans at my side and a town full of terrified civilians behind me. Rain, is it true that the victims were trainees from the Manor program? The squad leader asks as we begin our patrol. Yes. I saw the knoll burst out of the dormitory. It demolished the door, sent 2 armored guards flying through the air, and cleared the perimeter fence at a speed faster than anything I've ever witnessed. I'm dead serious. As I say this, the memory of that massive shadow exploding through wood and soldiers like they were made of paper is seared into my brain with permanent ink. If I had to estimate that thing's stats in system terms, strength 18, maybe 20, way beyond any human limit I've encountered, way beyond anything I can currently fight. The 3 watchmen exchange concerned glances. They know my reputation. The kid who solo killed 2 wanted criminals. If that kid is saying, this thing is terrifying, then they need to take this very seriously. Hamilton already issued standing orders. If any patrol spots the knoll, fire a signal arrow immediately. Within 30 seconds, every other patrol in Shining Gold Town converges on your position. And Hamilton himself will come running. Nobody fights this thing alone. Nobody. Our assignment is simple. Patrol 2 streets in the south residential area. Keep the lights on. Keep eyes open. Keep civilians alive. Let's start by lighting all the street lamps, the squad leader says. Normally, to save fuel, they leave some lamps dark during quiet nights. But tonight, every lamp burns. Full illumination. No shadows for a predator to hide in. The lamps use whale oil mixed with other stuff. Expensive if you're lighting dozens of them. But tonight nobody's counting pennies. Let me help. I volunteer immediately. New guy energy. Gotta make a good impression on the veterans. Build those workplace relationships. I grab a match, reach into a lamp housing, and light the wick. Ding. Detected that host is performing street lamp maintenance. Triggered class change. Night watchman. Prerequisites for advancement to night watchman. 1. Militia LV3 or higher. 2. Strength 7, Agility 6, Constitution 6. 3. Any swordsmanship LV3, any archery LV2. Current conditions, not met. Advancement to night watchman failed. A new combat class. I almost dropped the match into the oil reservoir from pure excitement. A 3rd job class option. Not just blacksmith and militia. I could become an actual, system-recognized night watchman. Let me check the requirements. Militia LV3? I'm at LV4. Check. Strength 7? I'm at 9. Check. Agility 6? I'm at 8. Check. Constitution 6? I'm at 6. Check. Barely, but it counts. Any swordsmanship LV3? Basic swordsmanship is LV4 and giant bear swordsmanship is LV1. The basic 1 qualifies. Check. Any archery LV2? Basic archery LV1, 8/100. Not met. 1 requirement short. And it's the archery. My weakest, most pathetic, most painfully underleveled skill is the only thing standing between me and a brand new combat class. Those 8 measly archery experience points from 1 day of training are mocking me. But unlike the Night Squire requirements, which have a mile-long list of conditions I'm nowhere near meeting, the Night Watchman advancement needs just 1 more thing. Get archery to level 2. That's it. That's all that's left. The training program has more archery sessions coming up. If I grind hard, really hard, I can hit archery LV2 and unlock the Night Watchman class. And here's the beautiful part. Triggering this class didn't require some grand event or expensive item. I literally just lit a lamp. The most mundane, boring, routine task in the entire Night Watch job description, and the system said, yep, that counts as a trigger event. This system has the most chaotic standards for what constitutes important enough to trigger. A class change. Donkey kicks my head, blacksmith apprentice swing a wooden sword, militia light a street lamp, night watchman. At this rate, if I accidentally sneeze near a church, I'll probably trigger a priest class. But jokes aside, a night watchman class could give me core skills specifically designed for nighttime combat, detection, or patrol work. Skills that blacksmith and militia don't cover. Skills that could save my life against things that hunt in the dark. Things like a ferocified gnoll that eats children in their sleep. I light the rest of the lamps with shaking hands and a racing heart. Archery level 2. That's my new top priority. Right after, don't get eaten tonight. A new combat class is right there. One requirement away. 1. And that one requirement is my garbage tier archery skill sitting at LV1, 12/100ths. Like a student who showed up to class once and then dropped out. Normally, grinding archery from LV1 to LV2 would take 2 to 3 more months of practice. I don't have 2 to 3 months. I have a 7-foot hyena monster that eats children, and it could come back tonight. I think about it for exactly 1 second. Skill point. Into archery. Now, yes, I was saving that point for blacksmith's might or the giant bear breathing method. Yes, both of those are excellent investments. But here's the thing about excellent investments. They're worthless if you're dead. The logic is simple. When I advanced from blacksmith apprentice to blacksmith, I got 2 strength and 2 core skills. If the pattern holds, advancing from militia to night watchman should give me attribute boosts and new core skills too. That's potentially a massive power spike. Way more value than dumping 1 point into an existing skill. Why not advance to night squire instead? Because I'm missing like 5 requirements for that. I'd need months of training to qualify. The night watchman class needs one thing, archery, and I can fix that right now. When a ferocified monster could show up at your doorstep any minute, you don't save resources for a rainy day. It's already raining. It's raining hyena monsters. Skill point goes into basic archery. Basic archery, LV1, LV2. The system immediately checks my qualifications. Militia LV3, LV4, check. Strength 7, 9, check. Agility 6, 8, check. Constitution 6, 6, check. Swordsmanship LV3, LV4, check. Archery LV2, now it is, check. All conditions met. Advance from militia to night watchman? Yes/no. Note. Night watchman panel will replace militia panel. Yes. Smash that button. Do it. Evolve me. Ding. Class change successful. Advance to night watchman. Strength 1, Agility 1, Spirit 1. Obtain night watchman core skills. Danger sense LV1, passive. Dark vision, passive. 3 attribute boosts? Not 1, not 2, 3. Strength, agility, and spirit all go up by 1. And 2 new core skills, both passive, meaning they're always on. Let me check what I just got. Core skill, dark vision, passive, effect. Your vision in darkness or low-light conditions is dramatically enhanced, comparable to nocturnal animals. I look up from my panel, and WHOA. The world just changed. The dark corners of the street that were pitch black 30 seconds ago, I can see them now, clear as dusk. Not daylight clear, but definitely. I can see everything important, clear. There's a rat crawling out of a hole in that alley 30 meters away. I can see its whiskers twitching. There's a cockroach scuttling into a trash pile in that shadow over there. I can count its legs. I just got biological night vision goggles installed directly into my eyeballs. In a world where most dangerous things hunt at night, I can now see in the dark like a cat. And the icon has no experience bar underneath, meaning dark vision can't be leveled up through skill points. It's either a fixed ability or upgrades through some other method. Either way, it's already incredibly powerful at base level. Rain? You okay? The squad leader asks, noticing me staring into the darkness with my mouth slightly open. Yeah, just thinking about something. While we walk, I check the second core skill. Core skill, Danger Sense LV1, passive, effect. Your awareness of surrounding dangers is slightly enhanced. Note, sensitivity scales with spirit attribute. Higher spirit equals sharper detection. This This is the real prize. Dark vision lets me see threats. Danger sense lets me feel them before I see them. It's animal instinct. That prickle on the back of your neck. That gut feeling that says something is wrong before your conscious mind even processes why. Prey animals have this. It's why rabbits bolt before you even finish raising your hand. In a world full of superhuman monsters, hidden assassins, and nobles who casually order peasant boys erased, having an early warning system might be the difference between life and death. And it scales with spirit, which is my highest base stat at 9 after the 1 from advancement. The system literally designed this skill to synergize with my strongest attribute. Let me update the full stat sheet. Name: Reincarnated Jobs. Blacksmith LV1, 5 100ths, / Night Watchman LV1 Constitution. 6 Strength, 10 Agility, 9 Spirit, 9 remaining attribute points, 1 remaining skill points, 1 Strength, 10. Double digits. I've crossed into territory where I'm significantly stronger than any normal human in this world. Average adult is 6. I'm 10. I am a weapon wrapped in a teenager's body. We patrol the streets for the rest of the night. 4 of us moving through pools of lamplight and stretches of shadow. Except now, the shadows aren't dark for me anymore. Every alley, every corner, every rooftop. I can see it all. I feel like a completely different creature from the boy who was trimming donkey hooves 3 weeks ago. Hours pass. No signal flares from other patrols. No screams. The ferocified beast didn't come to Shining Gold Town tonight. It's probably still in the Nightsong Forest, digesting its horrible meal. Just as we're about to wrap up and go home for some desperately needed sleep, a messenger gallops up. All units to the administrative hall. Sheriff Hamilton is personally leading a joint operation with Habsburg Manor forces to hunt the knoll in Nightsong Forest. Assembly in 30 minutes. My exhaustion evaporates like morning dew. A hunting party. Knights, elite night watchmen, and manor guards going into the forest to find and kill the monster that murdered my classmates. Do I go? I think about it for half a second. The squad will be led by people like Hamilton, Knight Lloyd, or Instructor Perez, multiple Knight class fighters. There'll be dozens of trained soldiers. The risk is manageable. And I just got dark vision and danger sense, 2 skills literally designed for forest combat. I can see in the dark better than anyone else in the squad. I can sense threats before they arrive. Plus, those dead trainees. We ate together, trained together, slept in neighboring rooms. They weren't my close friends, but they were my people, my fellow trainees. And some hyena-faced abomination turned them into dinner. If there's an opportunity to put a sword through that thing's skull with manageable risk, I'm in. Let's go hunting. One problem with my new badass night watchman status: I don't have a greatsword. The giant bear swordsmanship is designed for heavy 2-handed blades, but all I've got is the standard issue night watch hand-and-a-half sword. It's decent. The longer grip lets me use 2 hands, but it's way too light to unleash the full bear-style devastation. It's like owning a sports car engine but installing it in a golf cart. Functional, but not ideal. At the administrative hall, Hamilton is waiting in full knight plate armor. Helmet, shield, sword, the works. His normally serious face looks even more serious behind a bucket-style visor. The man radiates, "I'm going to kill something today," energy. He spots me, gives a brief nod, and gets straight to briefing. Habsburg Manor has already deployed scouts into the western Nightsong Forest. Hunting hawks and tracking dogs have located the ferocified knoll. It's hiding in a concealed valley. The creature is cunning, but the valley has only 3 exits. Our forces and the manor's forces will split into 3 groups and seal all exits simultaneously. Hawks and greyhounds for tracking. Smart. The birds spotted the knoll from above while the dogs followed its scent trail on the ground. Between aerial and ground reconnaissance, the monster had nowhere to hide. After a quick rally, Hamilton slams on his bucket helmet and leads our group, 20-plus elite night watchmen and yours truly, at a fast march toward the northern entrance of the target valley. We're assigned the farthest position from town, so we're basically sprinting through forest to get there in time. My enhanced stats make the pace easy, but some of the older watchmen are panting hard. Meanwhile, inside the valley, the knoll, Savage Claw, is having breakfast. And by breakfast, I mean he's eating what's left of the kidnapped trainee. He glances up at some hawks circling overhead. Weird that they won't leave, but whatever. He's not worried. This valley has 3 exits. If humans come from one direction, he just runs out another. If the scary, iron-skinned men, knights, show up, he'll bolt into the deep forest where humans won't follow. Perfect plan. Foolproof. Genius-level Knoll strategy. Woof, woof, woof. Dog barking from the west entrance. Savage Claw perks up. Humans tracked him. Expected. He drops the remains of his meal and charges toward the approaching greyhound. The dog sees a 7-foot hyena monster sprinting at it like a freight train and nopes right back into the forest with its tail between its legs. Smart dog. Found it. It's here. Human voices echo from the west. Savage Claw snorts. Fine. West is blocked. He'll just go south. He pivots and sprints toward the southern exit at terrifying speed. He's already mentally composing his victory speech. Stupid humans, trying to catch me. I'll come back tomorrow and eat more of your... Woof, woof, woof. Dogs at the south entrance too. Savage Claw's smugness evaporates. He slams to a halt so hard his feet carve trenches in the dirt. They know about the south exit? Damn it. One exit left. The north. His last escape route. His final path back to the deep forest. He sprints north, ears straining for any sound. No barking. No voices. Just forest silence. A relieved Knoll grin spreads across his ugly hyena face. Foolish humans. You think you can catch Savage Claw? In your dreams. Hee hee hee. He charges toward the northern exit at full speed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A storm of arrows comes screaming out of the tree straight at him. Savage Claw panics. His body activates on instinct. That pale blue energy field wraps around his frame, eliminating air resistance, and his speed skyrockets. He dodges most of the arrows through sheer velocity and dives behind a massive tree trunk. He peers around the tree and his green eyes go wide. The northern exit is crawling with leather-armored archers, and leading them is an iron-skinned man, a knight in full plate with a sword and shield. That's U.S. Hamilton's squad. 20 Night Watch elites with bows drawn, and Hamilton himself standing in front like an immovable wall of steel. Thanks to my dark vision, even in the misty, shadowy forest morning, I can see this monster clearly. Over 7 feet tall, long powerful limbs, a patchwork mess of stolen leather and chain armor, clearly ripped off dead mercenaries and crammed onto a body 3 sizes too big. No weapons, but those claws gleam like polished knives. The kidnapped trainee is nowhere in sight, because there's nothing left to see. My jaw tightens. My grip on my sword goes white-knuckle. Savage Claw assesses the situation with panicked animal intelligence. North has an iron-skinned man and archers. Can't go north. He bolts south again. Gets there. Finds another knight. This one wielding a massive greatsword, plus dozens of soldiers in chainmail. South is sealed. Desperate now, he rockets to the west entrance. Another knight with sword and shield. More soldiers. All 3 exits are blocked. 3 knights. Dozens of soldiers. Hawks above. Dogs below. Every direction sealed with steel and arrows. Savage Claw, the cunning Knoll who thought he was smarter than all of humanity, is trapped in his own perfect hiding spot. His green eyes dart frantically between the 3 exits. Then they harden with desperate fury. The west and south exits lead toward human territory. Even if he breaks through, there might be more traps waiting. More soldiers. More knights. But north leads back to the deep forest. His home turf. His survival zone. If he can punch through our line and reach the dense woods, the humans won't dare follow into the darkness. The iron-skinned man at the north exit is a problem, but it's the smallest problem compared to being surrounded and killed. Decision made. I watch through the morning mist as a gray-black blur begins accelerating toward our position. Blue energy shimmers around its massive frame. The ground shakes with each stride. 350 pounds of ferocified Knoll, running at superhuman speed, heading straight for us. Straight for me. Hamilton draws his sword. Here it comes. I can see it coming from a mile away, literally. Through the misty forest, trees are snapping like toothpicks as a massive gray-black shape barrels toward our position. My dark vision turns the foggy shadows into HD clarity. That 7-foot hyena monster is heading straight for us. This is it. It chose our exit as its escape route. And a cornered animal fighting for its life is the most dangerous thing in nature. I pull up my stats one more time. Strength, 10 agility, 9 spirit, 9 remaining attribute points, 1 remaining skill points. When I keep that attribute point saved, the stamina recovery effect could save my life if things go sideways. But the skill point? I dump it into Blacksmith's Might. Blacksmith's Might. LV1, LV2, the icon glows. The description changes from slightly to moderately increased strength. That means the boost went from roughly 20% to maybe 30 or more. On a base of 10 strength, that's potentially 13 total when activated. Not enough to solo a ferocified gnoll, but enough to make it hurt. Fire. Hamilton swings his longsword forward and 20+ Night Watchmen, me included, unleash a storm of arrows. The gnoll doesn't even flinch. It covers its eyes with one massive arm and starts zigzagging at insane speed, juking left and right like a running back dodging tackles. Most of our arrows miss completely. The two that connect barely penetrate, stopped by its patchwork armor and muscle fibers as dense as steel cable. It snaps both arrow shafts off with one hand, roars, and charges straight at Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't back up a single inch. In fact, the lunatic actually looks excited. His body language screams, finally, a real fight. Apparently being a small-town sheriff bores this man, and he's been craving violence. The gnoll closes the distance. The wind from its charge hits us like a physical force. Hamilton braces, and then the gnoll grins. Hamilton's instincts scream danger. At the last possible second, instead of engaging Hamilton head-on, Savage Claw executes a perfect 90-degree turn and leaps sideways, straight toward the line of Night Watchmen. It was a feint. The gnoll never intended to fight the knight. It targeted the squishy guys standing behind him. Smart monster. Heavy plate armor means Hamilton is the strongest fighter, but also the slowest. If it can blow past the Watchman line and reach the forest, Hamilton can't catch it. Throw nets. Hamilton roars. Several hemp rope nets, pre-soaked in linseed oil for extra toughness, go flying at the gnoll from multiple angles. Savage Claw doesn't even slow down. Its claws suddenly shimmer with that pale blue energy, the same wind-cutting power it used to move so fast, and with 2 lightning swipes, slash slash. The reinforced nets disintegrate like tissue paper. Everyone's face goes white. Those nets were supposed to be our trump card. Then the gnoll plows into the Watchman line. 2 elite Night Watchmen raise their swords in desperate blocks and get launched 5 meters through the air. I can practically hear their ribs shattering on impact. 350 pounds of supernatural muscle moving at cheetah speed. No regular human can absorb that kind of force. Hamilton is furious. His men are getting wrecked. He whips his shield off his arm and hurls it at the gnoll's back like a giant steel frisbee. The spinning shield screams through the air. Savage Claw has to twist sideways to dodge, losing precious momentum. Before it can accelerate again, clang. Hamilton's helmet comes flying at it too. The man literally threw his own head protection as a projectile. This guy is insane. He's stripping off his own armor piece by piece and using it as ammunition. The gnoll bats the helmet away, but it's lost even more speed. The Watchmen fire another volley of arrows, blocking the exit path. Savage Claw has to dodge again, and Hamilton catches up. No shield, no helmet. Just a man in plate armor with a long sword and absolutely zero regard for personal safety. He thrusts straight at the gnoll's center mass. Savage Claw snarls. An iron skin with no shield? You think you can stop him, Y Claws? The gnoll unleashes its ultimate technique, Rage Claw Barrage. Its arms blur into a storm of slashes, blue energy crackling around each strike, moving so fast it leaves afterimages in the air. This is the move that killed a 17-foot ferocified giant lizard. Raw speed, raw power, shredding force amplified by supernatural wind energy. Hamilton doesn't dodge, doesn't retreat, doesn't block. He charges straight in. Giant force. Both his arms swell to nearly double their size. The plate armor groans at the seams. His muscles are bulging through steel like the Hulk wearing a tin can. His longsword sweeps upward in a rising slash, a silver arc of light cutting through the morning mist like a lightning bolt aimed at the heavens. Boom! They collide. Full power against full power. Ultimate technique versus ultimate technique. The shockwave knocks me back a step from 30 feet away. Blood. Everywhere. Both of them. Hamilton goes flying backward. 4 deep claw marks carved across his chest plate from upper right to lower left. If he wasn't wearing knight-grade armor, those claws would have gutted him like a fish. Savage Claw goes flying the other direction, and its left forearm is gone. Clean cut, severed just below the elbow. Hamilton's rising slash took the whole thing off. The stump is spraying blood like a broken fire hydrant. That's what a knight's breaking limit power looks like. One swing, one arm, gone. But the knoll is still alive, still moving, and now it's desperate. It knows it's bleeding out. Every second costs its strength. Every heartbeat pumps more blood onto the forest floor. It has to escape now or die. Savage Claw abandons all strategy and just bulls forward through the watchman line. 3 more of my squad mates get smashed aside like bowling pins. 350 pounds of panicking monster at full sprint is basically an organic battering ram. Bodies fly. Men scream. And then the knoll's path clears. The exit to the deep forest is right there. One more obstacle between it and freedom. One small, thin, pathetically undersized obstacle. Me. Savage Claw's bleeding face twists into something resembling JOY. After a night, after elite soldiers, after nets and arrows and shields, the last thing between it and survival is the smallest human it's ever seen. One hit. One tiny human. One more second, and it's free. It charges straight at me with everything it has left. And I look up at 7 feet of wounded, bleeding, absolutely furious hyena monster bearing down on me like a runaway train, and I think, okay, let's see what Strength 10 can do. The 7-foot bleeding hyena monster is stampeding straight at me, the smallest, thinnest, most snack-sized human in its path. In its mind, I'm basically a speed bump with legs. One swat, and it's free. My danger sense is screaming so loud inside my skull, it's practically filing a formal complaint. But I do the math in my head. Hamilton just chopped off its left arm. It's hemorrhaging blood everywhere. Its strength is at 50, maybe 60%. It's running on fumes and desperation. I don't need to beat it. I just need to stall it for a few seconds until the others catch up. Is it dangerous? My danger sense is literally vibrating with, yes, you idiot. But if this thing escapes into the deep forest, it'll come back. Tomorrow, next week, and next time, it might choose my house, my family, my sister. That thought burns away every drop of fear in my body. Blacksmith's might, strength, 10-10-4 equals 14. The heat detonates in my chest like a bomb. My blood turns to liquid fire. Every muscle fiber in my body snaps, taut like steel cables under maximum tension. My arms swell. My shoulders harden. I feel like there's a tiger inside me that just woke up from a 10-year nap, and it is angry. 14 points of strength. The level 2 blacksmith's might boost is insane. +4 instead of the old +1.8. That's almost 40% increase. I have never felt this powerful in either of my lives. Jump slash. I scream the technique name, grip my hand in a half, sword with both hands, and launch myself into the air. The giant bear swordsmanship's second form. A leaping overhead strike designed for a 36-pound greatsword, but executed with a lighter blade. Less weight means less raw damage, but it also means nearly double the speed. Savage Claw sees me jump, and its hyena face twists with offended disbelief. This appetizer-sized human is actually attacking it? A mouse challenging a lion, an ant biting an elephant. Rage floods the knoll's remaining eye. Its one good right claw, the only limb it has left, rips forward in a vicious counterstrike. Boom. Silver light meets blue-wreathed claws. The impact sends a shockwave through both of us. And Savage Claw's eyes go wide, because it just felt something impossible. The force behind this tiny human sword is almost equal to its own claw strike. Not superior, but absolutely not what a creature this small should be capable of producing. The knoll is knocked backward several meters. Its feet carve furrows in the dirt. I go flying the opposite direction. The recoil from blocking a 7-foot monster's full power strike sends me stumbling back over 10 steps, face flushed red from the impact. But I look down at myself. Not a scratch. Not a scratch. I blocked a ferocified knoll's attack head-on and walked away clean. All those emotions I had before the clash, the fear, the doubt, the "what am I doing?" anxiety, they evaporate like morning dew in a furnace. 2 words are ringing in my head like church bells. Can. Fight. I can fight this thing. Not easily. Not safely. But I just went toe-to-toe with a monster that was trading blows with a knight 5 minutes ago, and I survived. The Night Watch elites behind me are frozen with shock. They saw this creature go even with Hamilton, a formal knight, and now this scrawny teenage boy just knocked it backward? Their eyes are basically falling out of their skulls. Did the kid just? Did he just block that? Is the Knoll really that weakened? Or is Rain really that strong? But I bought exactly what we needed, time. Hamilton sees his opening. Despite blood pouring from his chest wounds, this absolute maniac clamps his muscles to seal his own injuries, stomps the ground hard enough to crater it, and rockets forward with his long sword aimed at the Knoll's exposed back. Savage Claw feels the wind behind it and whips around, swiping its right claw in a desperate counter. But that right claw now has a deep gash courtesy of my sword. The bone is practically visible. Its striking power has collapsed. Squelch. Hamilton's longsword punches through the Knoll's left chest. Blood erupts, but the Knoll's weakened claw still catches Hamilton across the torso and sends him flying. He hits the ground hard, all his sealed wounds ripping back open simultaneously. Blood sprays everywhere. The Knoll staggers. The knight is down, but I'm not. Savage Claw barely has time to process its wound before it feels wind on the back of its neck again. Me, coming in for round 2. While it was focused on Hamilton, in that split second, I remember Clea's voice in my head. When the enemy is distracted, attack the weakest point. Don't go for the head. The skull is the hardest bone in the body, so I change my angle. Mid-leap, I rotate my swing from a vertical chop to a horizontal slash aimed at the one target that's soft on every living creature. The throat. My hand-and-a-half sword traces a beautiful silver arc through the misty forest air. Shink. The blade catches the Knoll across both sides of the neck. Both carotid arteries. Wide open. Savage Claw reaches up to touch its throat. Something warm and wet is leaking. Then the pain hits. It tries to roar, but all that comes out is a wet, gurgling sound. Glub, glub, glub. And bloody foam bubbles from its lips. The ferocity fades from its green eyes. The light dims. The massive body sways like a tree in a storm. Thud. 350 pounds of ferocified Knoll faceplants into the grass. The body twitches. Blood spreads across the forest floor like a crimson lake. No amount of regeneration saves you when both neck arteries are spraying like broken garden hoses. I'm standing over the body, gasping, my chest heaving like a bellows. Every muscle shaking from the effort of channeling 14 points of strength through a sword technique designed for a blade twice as heavy. The entire fight, from my first jump slash to the killing stroke, lasted maybe 5 seconds. 5 seconds that felt like 5 hours. The Night Watch elites are standing around with their mouths hanging open. They didn't even finish running before the battle ended. They were spectators to a fight between a knight, a monster, and a teenager, and the teenager got the last hit. Did I steal the kill? Did I just pick up scraps? Was this a fluke because Hamilton did 90% of the damage? Absolutely. Hamilton chopped off its arm. Hamilton stabbed it through the chest. Hamilton bled for this victory. I just came in at the end when the monster was running on fumes and delivered the finishing blow. But you know what? In video games, the last hit is the one that counts. And my sword is the one dripping with Knoll blood. Ha ha ha. Cough, cough, cough. Hamilton, lying on the ground in a pool of his own blood, sees me standing over the dead Knoll and starts laughing. Full-bodied, delighted, proud laughter. Immediately interrupted by violent coughing because his lungs are damaged, and laughing while bleeding internally is apparently not recommended. But the joy on his face is real. His eyes are shining despite the pain. He bet on me. He saw something in that skinny farm boy who tried to stab him with a stick in the forest. And today, that bet paid off. Hamilton sees my jump slash and immediately figures out where I learned it. That technique. That's giant bear swordsmanship. Must be Perez's student. Wrong person, but right style. And I'm perfectly happy to let him keep guessing wrong. The fewer people who know about my connection to Clea, the better. The Night Watch guys, meanwhile, are looking at me like I just pulled a rabbit out of a hat. Except the rabbit was a sword and the hat was a 7-foot hyena monster. Nice work, kid. What's your name? Rain? I'm remembering that. When are you officially joining? Come to MY Squad. I'm back off, Willin. He hasn't even joined yet, and you're already recruiting. Fair competition. Let Rain choose. These grown men who were just terrified of a ferocified Knoll 5 minutes ago are now arguing over who gets me on their team, like kids picking dodgeball partners. I smile politely at all of them while internally glowing like a nuclear reactor. Then I hear dogs barking in the distance. Getting closer. The Habsburg Manor teams are converging on our position from the other 2 valley exits. My glow immediately switches off. If the Manor forces get here, they'll see me. Specifically, Knight Lloyd or Instructor Perez will see me. And if they see me displaying giant bear swordsmanship, a technique that's supposed to be a closely guarded noble art, questions will be asked. Questions that lead to Clea. Questions that could put us both in danger. Clea warned me. Stay under the radar. Don't let the Manor leadership know about our connection. I walk over to Hamilton, who's getting his wounds bandaged while looking like he lost a fight with a lawnmower. Sir, I'd like to head back to town early. Since my involvement here is, I only get halfway through the sentence before Hamilton's eyes light up with understanding. He thinks I don't want Perez to see me. To protect the identity of my teacher, he's still convinced it's Perez, and he doesn't want Perez finding out he stole the instructor's prized student. We're both keeping secrets for completely different reasons, but arriving at the exact same conclusion. Workplace politics really are universal across all dimensions. Rain, Willen, take the wounded and head back to Shining Gold Town immediately. Then Hamilton addresses the entire squad. Listen up. The fact that Rain delivered the killing blow stays between us. Officially, I killed the Knoll. That's the story. Understood. The watchmen glance between Hamilton and me. They see my calm, unbothered expression, zero protest about giving up credit for killing a ferocified monster, and immediately conclude that we have some kind of secret arrangement. Yes, SIR, reading the room. The most essential workplace skill in any world. We slip out of the valley before the Manor forces arrive. Mission accomplished. Identity protected. Glory sacrificed for safety. On the walk back, I finally check my system notifications from the fight. Giant Bear's swordsmanship experience. 157 Night Watchman job experience. 157 sword experience from one fight. Giant Bear's swordsmanship jumped straight from LV1 to LV2, 54 300ths. A skill that would have taken weeks of training got leveled up in 5 seconds of life or death combat. And my Night Watchman class is already at LV1, 87 out of 100. Nearly ready to level up. From one battle, life and death combat isn't just the fastest way to gain experience. It's in a completely different dimension from regular training. The gap between practice and real fighting is like the gap between watching cooking shows and working in a burning kitchen. The downside? Oh, just the minor detail that you might die. But maybe, once I'm stronger, I could start taking bounty hunting missions from the wanted posters. High rewards plus massive combat experience. That's the ultimate 2 birds, 1 stone hustle. From watching Hamilton fight, I can now roughly estimate what a formal knight's power level actually is. Hamilton went full limit break and matched the Knoll blow for blow before it lost its arm. If the Knoll at full strength was around 20 strength points, then a formal knight is probably in that same range, 3 to 4 times a normal human's power. In my old life, Usain Bolt's leg muscles were roughly twice the strength of a normal person's. And that was considered approaching the biological ceiling of human potential. 3 to 4 times? That's not just athletic. That's superhuman. That's what breathing methods do. They shatter the wall that normal training can never breach. And I want to reach that level. Badly. Squad leader Willen is practically my new best friend on the walk home. Can't stop talking. Can't stop shoulder patting. Rain, when you officially join, come to MY Squad first. Promise me. I'll seriously consider it. Captain Willen. We drop off the wounded at the town medical station and I head home. The second I walk through the door, the entire household SCREMS. Because I look like I just auditioned for a horror movie. Knoll blood, my own sweat, dirt, and general forest grime cover me from head to toe. My night watch armor is painted red and brown. I look like a butcher who fell into his own meat grinder. Mom nearly faints. Dad goes pale. Mint's eyes go as wide as dinner plates. Anna's hands fly to her mouth. After a frantic inspection confirms I'm actually not injured. All the blood belongs to the Knoll. The household collectively exhales hard enough to blow out a candle. But Mom's eyes tell a different story. She was so happy about the night watch position. Stable government job. Regular income. Her son has a career. But now she's watching her child come home drenched in monster blood, and the romance of Night Watchman has been replaced by the reality of my baby fights 7-foot hyena creatures for a living. Dad puts his arm around her. Trust the boy, Emma. It's dangerous, but it's also opportunity. Better than being a mud farmer his whole life. Thanks, Dad. Motivational speech of the year. I pat Mint's head, wave hello to Anna, shovel food into my mouth without tasting it, take a bath, and collapse into bed. I've been awake for over 24 hours straight. I've patrolled streets, marched through forests, fought a super-powered monster, and helped kill the most dangerous creature in the county. Even with strength 10 and enhanced stamina, my body is done. I sleep like the dead. Next morning, I open my eyes, try to sit up, and OWWWW, I flop back down like a pancake. Every muscle in my body is screaming. My arms feel like they've been through an industrial press. My legs are made of concrete and pain. My shoulders are filing a formal grievance with my brain. It takes me about 3 seconds to figure out the cause. Blacksmith's might. The level 2 active skill boosted my strength to 14 for that fight, a 40% increase over my base. That's like strapping a jet engine to a bicycle. The bicycle works, but afterward, every bolt and spoke is screaming for mercy. The overload effect. Using blacksmith's might temporarily pushes my muscles way beyond their normal output, and the price is crippling soreness afterward. The good news, the side effects don't kick in during the fight. When it matters, when life is on the line, I get 30+ seconds of near superhuman power with zero drawbacks in the moment. The bad news, the day after feels like I got run over by a horse. Twice, while the horse was wearing cleats. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to lift my arm to scratch my nose and failing. Worth it though, I muttered to nobody. Absolutely worth it. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, every muscle fiber in my body staging a labor strike. I start analyzing the blacksmith's might after effects. Good news, the overload doesn't hit during the fight. If it did, if my muscles locked up while an enemy was still standing, I'd basically hand-deliver myself as a gift-wrapped corpse. Here you go, Mr. Monster. I temporarily became Superman, and now I can't move my arms. Please eat me at your convenience. Bad news. The soreness the next day is absolutely crippling. Interesting theory, though. Would higher constitution reduce or even eliminate the after effects? It makes sense. Stronger body, better recovery, less overload damage. I'm dying to test this, but I only have one attribute point left, and that's my emergency. Full heal button. Can't spin it on a theory. I drag myself out of bed like a zombie who pulled both hamstrings and catch a glimpse of myself in the copper mirror. Hold on. Who is that? The scrawny beanpole who got kicked by a donkey 3 weeks ago is gone. The reflection staring back at me has shoulders, biceps, visible triceps. My old clothes, the ones that used to hang off me like curtains on a stick, are now tight. My upper body muscles are actually pressing against the fabric, creating visible outlines. I'm not huge. I'm not a bodybuilder. But I look like someone who's been training seriously for about 2 years, not 2 weeks. I peel off the tight shirt and dig through Dad's old clothes until I find a larger tunic. Once I put it on, the muscle definition disappears under the loose fabric. Good. Looking too jacked too fast raises questions I can't answer. I check my height against the doorframe. I've grown too, about half a pinky finger's worth. Not dramatic, but I've been expanding sideways so fast that the vertical growth is invisible by comparison. I'm basically becoming a cube. When I come downstairs and look out the window, I see something that melts my battle-hardened heart into warm butter. Mint and Anna are in the little backyard garden, kneeling in the dirt, planting winter rapeseed together. Mint is wearing this adorable layered dress with a blue apron-style skirt held up by shoulder straps. She looks like a tiny farmer from a storybook illustration. Anna, big sister, when can we harvest the rapeseed? Probably during the month of 100 flowers. Mint counts on her fingers. 3, 4, 5 months. That's so long. Then her eyes light up as she points at another patch. What about the chives we planted? When do those grow? Those should be ready by the month of green grass, right after winter ends. Why? That's way sooner. Mint's eyes crinkle into happy little crescents. Anna is smiling down at Mint with the softest, most gentle expression, like an older sister who finally found a family member worth protecting. Watching this scene through the window, something shifts inside me. Yesterday, I faced a creature that could have ripped me in half. A 7-foot predator with claws like knives and strength that dwarfed my own. The fear, the pressure, the overwhelming aura of a being that viewed me as food. If I hadn't had something to fight for in that moment, if I hadn't had these two girls, this family, this home burning in my heart like a furnace, would I have had the courage to swing my sword? Or would I have stepped aside and let the monster run past? Strength without purpose is just muscle. Power without will is just numbers on a panel. The system can give me stats and skills and experience points, but it can't give me the reason to use them when using them might kill me. That has to come from inside. And right now, watching a 7-year-old girl count on her fingers to figure out when her vegetables will grow, while a lonely orphan girl smiles for the first time in months, I know exactly what I'm fighting for. Congratulations. You have experienced an epiphany. Spirit attribute has received a moderate increase. I jolt. What? An epiphany? The system gives bonus stats for thinking deep thoughts? I check my panel. Spirit just jumped from 9 to 11. +2. For free. No attribute points spent. No leveling up. Just standing at a window having feelings about vegetables and little sisters. 11 Spirit. My highest stat again, surpassing even my monstrous strength of 10. And the effect is immediate. When I raise my head, the world feels different. Not visually. It's more like a sixth sense expanding outward. I can feel 3 birds chattering on the oak tree by the front door without seeing them. I can sense a mouse cautiously poking its head out of a crack in the kitchen wall. My danger sense must be feeding off the boosted spirit stat. Higher spirit equals sharper perception, and at 11 points, my awareness has crossed some kind of threshold. It's not just detecting danger anymore. It's detecting everything around me in a sphere of passive awareness. This is the real treasure from yesterday's battle. Not the experience points, not the skill levels, not even the Knoll's death. The real reward was the wisdom I gained from facing death and understanding why I was willing to face it. The system recognized that growth and rewarded it. Note to self: have more profound philosophical revelations while staring out windows. Apparently, it's extremely efficient for stat gains. My stomach interrupts my enlightenment with a thunderous grrrrgle. Oh right, I came downstairs to eat. Mom left me an amazing breakfast, a full pound of white bread, a slice of cured meat, and an EGG. By this world's standards, that's a 5-star morning feast. Most people don't even eat real breakfast. Only heavy laborers get this kind of treatment. Ever since I gave the family those 2 gold coins and announced the night watch job, Mom upgraded our meals by 2 tiers. We went from surviving to actually eating like humans. I demolish everything in about 90 seconds. Still only 50% full. My appetite is becoming a serious logistical problem. Between the rapid physical development, the breathing method training, and the sheer biological demands of puberty, my body is consuming calories faster than a forest fire consuming dry leaves. Gonna need to stop by the pie shop later for emergency reinforcements. Mint bounces in from the garden, dirt on her cheeks, grinning like the sun. Big brother, you're finally awake. Come plant rapeseed with us? I ruffle her hair. Sorry, Mint. Brother's got some things to take care of. You keep planting with big sister Anna. Okay, eh? Come back soon. She bounces away like a happy little rabbit. At the doorway, Anna catches my eye for a brief moment. A shy glance, a tiny nod, a hint of pink on her cheeks, before she turns away. I'll go keep Mint company, she murmurs, and disappears into the garden. I watch them go. 2 girls planting vegetables in a small backyard. One tiny, one fragile. Both precious. Spirit, 11. The highest it's ever been. And I know exactly where every point of it comes from. I notice something as Anna turns to go back to the garden. She looks healthier. Her skin has more color. Her hair isn't as dry and brittle anymore. There's a faint shine to it that wasn't there before. Regular meals and a warm house are slowly bringing this girl back to life. She catches me looking and immediately drops her gaze, cheeks turning pink, and mumbles something about keeping Mint company before disappearing outside. Anna still can't make eye contact with me for more than 2 seconds without blushing and retreating like a shy turtle. The only person she's completely relaxed around is Mint. Put those 2 together, and Anna transforms into a smiling, laughing, normal girl. Put me in the room, and she becomes a tomato with legs. I don't have a fix for this. Time will have to do the work. No word from the manor about resuming training. They're probably still dealing with the aftermath of having a 7-foot monster eat their students. And Hamilton hasn't summoned me either, which means he's probably lying in a medical bed somewhere getting his chest stitched back together. I can't practice the giant bear breathing method today, because Clea specifically warned me, never force breathing practice when your body is in bad condition. And right now my muscles feel like they were tenderized with a meat hammer. Attempting advanced yoga poses while my entire body is filing a workers' compensation claim would be stupid. So blacksmith shop it is. But first, I make a critical detour to the pie shop. I buy 3 meat pies, each one the size of a 12-inch pizza from my past life. One of these pies is enough to feed a family of 3 for an entire meal. I eat all 3, and I feel just barely full. My food consumption is becoming a genuine economic crisis. My body is growing so fast, burning so many calories through training and breathing method practice, that I'm basically a furnace with legs. The few gold coins I have left will disappear fast if I keep eating like a competitive eater at a state fair. I need more income. White bread keeps me alive, but my muscles are screaming for protein. My body doesn't want carbs, it wants meat. Preferably magical super bear meat, but I'll settle for regular animal flesh at this point. Speaking of which, I lick my lips remembering the rage bear meat Clea gave me. That stuff was transcendent. If I could eat that every day, my breathing method would probably advance at light speed. But rage bear meat costs more than my entire house, so regular pork pies it is. When I walk into the blacksmith shop, something feels different. The clang of hammers, the blast of forge heat, the smell of hot metal, it all feels welcoming. Like coming home. Like this place is where I belong. Must be the blacksmith class affecting my perception. The system didn't just give me skills. It gave me an actual affinity for the craft. Rain, come in. Boris greets me first thing. Is it true about the null attack at the manor? Several trainees died? Yes, Mr. Boris, I nod grimly. Terrible business. Haven't seen anything like that in years. These are dangerous times. Boris shakes his head. The other apprentices crowd around me asking questions. How tall was it? Did you see it? Is it true it was over 2 meters? I give them a condensed version without mentioning my personal involvement in the kill, and eventually the excitement dies down enough for actual work to begin. Today, I'm the primary forger. Boris assists me instead of the other way around. When I grip the blacksmith hammer, it feels like a part of my arm. Every swing is instinctive, every angle natural. The hammer mastery passive skill has turned me into a hammering machine. I don't think about where to strike anymore. My hands just know. But the experience gains are slow. Horseshoe forging experience. 2 blacksmith job experience. 1 per 30 minutes, 1 point per half hour. After advancing to full blacksmith, the horseshoe crafting that used to shower me with experience has become a trickle. It's like trying to level up in a video game by fighting enemies 20 levels below you. The content is too easy to give meaningful rewards. I grind all morning and produce dozens of horseshoes. A small mountain of gleaming crescent metal. Boris would normally need until mid-afternoon to make this many, but I finished 2 hours early. The reason isn't superior technique. Boris is still the better craftsman. It's my stats. With strength 10, I swing the heavy hammer like it weighs nothing, barely losing stamina. With spirit 11, I can sense the microscopic changes in the heated metal with each strike. When to hit harder, when to ease up, when the grain structure is just right. Stats don't replace skill, but they make skill terrifyingly efficient. I feel a burning gaze and look up. Boris is staring at me with the intensity of a man who just discovered gold in his backyard. Rain, how about becoming my official assistant? Paid position, I blink. This is significant. Boris's shop has exactly 1 paid assistant. The rest are all fee-paying apprentices. Getting offered an assistant position means Boris considers me to have actual blacksmith-level competence in at least one area. The other apprentices' heads snap toward us. I can feel their anxiety radiating like heat from the forge. If I take this job, I'm stealing a spot they've been dreaming about for months. But I'm obviously not going to say yes. My blacksmithing is a leveling tool, not a career. I'm here for experience points, not a salary. However, horseshoe forging is giving me almost nothing at this point. I need to learn something new. Something harder. Something that gives real experience at the blacksmith level. And Boris is currently in a very generous mood. He just watched me outperform his entire workshop. His wallet-shaped heart is as open as it's going to get. Time to negotiate. Mr. Boris, I'm honored, but I can't commit to a permanent position right now. However, I'd love to learn some other forging techniques. What else can you teach me, and how much would it cost? Boris's eyes flicker. I can see the internal battle between his desire to keep his secrets and his desire to monetize them. The cheapskate's dilemma, greed versus greed. Let's see which greed wins. Now, before anyone asks, why don't you just learn to forge weapons? Trust me, I want to. But Boris is a household goods blacksmith. Pots, pans, horseshoes, kitchen knives, that's his lane. He can't forge a greatsword any more than a pastry chef can grill a steak. He did make that hand-and-a-half sword once, but according to his apprentice Drulis, that's his secret family technique reserved exclusively for his biological son, who, ironically, ran away to the county capital and can't be found. Classic. And even if Boris could teach me sword forging, I need a greatsword for giant bear swordsmanship. A hand-and-a-half sword is like bringing a butter knife to a chainsaw fight. Mr. Boris, I appreciate the assistant offer, but I'd like to try the manner exam first. Boris waves it off. Sure. Young people should explore their options. Actually, though, how much would it cost to learn material selection, quenching, and polishing? The apprentices around us collectively inhale so hard they nearly create a vacuum. This kid just turned down a paid position and wants to learn 3 more techniques? The audacity. The appetite. All 3? 5 gold coins. Boris holds up 5 fingers. 5 gold coins. For a guy whose middle name is, why pay full price? This is highway robbery. But then he dangles the bait. Of course, if you became my assistant, I'd teach you all 3 for free over the course of a year. Every apprentice in the shop turns to stare at me with pure jealousy radiating from their eyeballs. The legendary Scrooge of Shining Gold Town offering free education to a teenager who already turned him down once. I almost feel bad. Almost. Thank you, Mr. Boris, but I'll have to pass. 5 gold coins is a lot. Let me talk to my parents. Can I learn them separately? Sure. Material selection is 1 gold. Quenching is 2. Polishing is 2. I'll be back this afternoon. I go home, eat lunch, still hungry afterward. My stomach is becoming a financial emergency. Grab 1 gold coin and head right back. Let's start with material selection, Mr. Boris. Here's the gold coin. He leads me to a back room I've never seen. A warehouse filled with raw ore, plus neatly stacked ingots of iron, copper, and tin. The raw materials of civilization, all piled up like a dragon's slightly less glamorous hoard. This is hematite, red iron ore. See the dark red and black coloring? The fracture pattern shows striped or shell-like breaks. Boris picks up a head-sized chunk and launches into his lecture. This is tin ore, dark brown surface, granular texture with metallic luster, internal cavities. This is chalcopyrite, yellow copper ore. With my spirit at 11, my observation and memory are operating on a completely different level from normal humans. Every detail Boris describes, color gradations, surface textures, weight differences, crystal structures, gets filed into my brain like a high-speed database. I'm absorbing information faster than he can deliver it. Boris notices I'm not asking questions or looking confused, so he just keeps going. Most students need him to repeat things 3 or 4 times. I'm one and done on everything. The system notifications start rolling in. You studied or identification. Related comprehension improved. You have learned a new skill or identification experience. 1. Focused on or identification for 30 minutes. Blacksmith job experience. 1. Same rate as horseshoe forging, 1 job point per half hour. Not blazing fast, but it's a new skill that I can grind separately, and it's genuinely useful knowledge for my future. Then Boris gets a twinkle in his eye and pulls open a special drawer. Rain, those were the common ores. But there are also extremely rare minerals, much harder to identify, and much more valuable. He hands me a chunk of ore with tiny star-like specks glittering across its surface. This is star iron, also called meteorite ore. It comes from fallen stars. When meteorites crash into the earth, they sometimes form this mineral. Incredibly rare. The instant this rock touches my palm, I know it's different. same size as the other samples, but it weighs at least twice as much. The density is insane, like holding a piece of collapsed neutron star. This is the stuff that makes legendary weapons. I've read enough fantasy novels across 2 lifetimes to know that sky metal is always the premium crafting material. Impressive, right? Boris grins at my expression. I only have this one fist-sized piece, and it costs dozens of times more than regular iron ore. My brain does rapid calculations. If a regular iron ingot costs a few copper coins, and meteorite ore costs dozens of times more, we're talking gold-level prices for a single chunk of space rock. Suddenly, a new career path flashes through my mind. What if I learned to identify rare ores that other people miss? What if my enhanced spirit and/or identification skill could spot valuable minerals that normal blacksmiths walk right past? That's not just a crafting skill. That's a money printer. But for now, I keep my poker face on and continue the lesson. One skill at a time. One gold coin at a time. The grind never stops. Star iron is dozens of times more expensive than regular iron ore. Boris nods like a proud professor dropping knowledge bombs. Star iron has exceptional hardness and flexibility. The dream combination for any bladed weapon. Swords, long swords, great swords. All become significantly better with star iron. Of course, making a weapon entirely from star iron would cost more than most nobles are willing to spend. The common approach is to mix it with regular iron. Best of both worlds, fraction of the price. How to identify it? First, weight. Same size chunk weighs roughly double compared to regular iron ore. Second, the fracture surface. Those tiny metallic granules sparkle in the light like little stars. That's why it's called star iron. Not bad, Boris. For a small-town cheapskate who charges 12 silver for horseshoe lessons, the man actually knows his stuff. His knowledge of star iron identification and forging properties is genuinely impressive. And then, the system notification that makes my brain light up like a Christmas tree, or identification experience. 17. You learn to identify special mineral, meteorite ore. Blacksmith job experience. 5. Plus 17? Plus 5. Regular or identification gives me 1 every 30 minutes. Learning 1 special or just gave me 5 job experience instantly. Learning to identify rare minerals is a shortcut to leveling my blacksmith class. If Boris has a collection of special ores, I could power level my profession by just looking at fancy rocks. I stare at Boris with the intensity of a starving man eyeing a buffet. Mr. Boris, you only showed me 1 special mineral. What about the others? Boris's face turns slightly red. Kid, look around. This is a small-town blacksmith shop, not the Imperial Museum. That star iron is my one and only treasure. My excitement crashes and burns like a meteor that actually has no ore inside it. 1 special mineral. That's all he has. The 1 shortcut I just discovered has exactly 1 stop on the route before it dead ends. I can't hide my disappointment, and Boris notices. Ahem. If you want to study more special minerals, you'd need to visit a large blacksmith operation in the county capital. Or, he pauses meaningfully, the castle blacksmith shop inside Habsburg Manor. They definitely have a stockpile of special ores. Why would the manor have special ores? Boris laughs like I just asked why water is wet. Because the castle blacksmith forges weapons and armor for the manor's guards and knights. Of course they keep rare crafting materials, right? Obviously, the nobles hoard all the good stuff. Special minerals that can enhance a knight's equipment? The aristocracy is sitting on mountains of the things. So my best option is the manor's own blacksmith shop. The county capital is too far, a full day's round trip without a horse. But the manor blacksmith is right there, and once training resumes, I can ask Instructor Barl to teach me special ore identification. Even if I have to pay him something, the blacksmith experience gains would be enormous. By the time I leave Boris's shop that evening, my blacksmith class is at LV1, 23/100ths. The ore identification training was slightly faster than horseshoe forging, but only because of that 1 special mineral. Without more rare ores to study, I'm back to the slow grind. On the way home, I stop at the pie shop for another massive meat pie. At dinner, Mom immediately spots the bakery wrapping and launches into a lecture. Rain, next time you want pie, bring your own meat and dough to the bakery. They'll bake it for you and you save at least 3 pennies. Across the table, I catch Mint's eye and give her a secret wink. She bursts into giggles, spraying crumbs. Anna is eating a small piece with her head down, trying not to smile. Mom looks at all of us, then at me, and shakes her head in defeat. Her son is becoming unlecturable. That night, with my muscle soreness mostly faded, I attempt some giant bear breathing method practice in my room. Without black tongue oil. The difference is painful. Not physically. Well, yes, physically, but in terms of results. Without the oil enhancing my body awareness, my practice is like trying to play piano with oven mitts on. I'm sweating buckets, but barely making progress. Breathing method experience, 1 point. With black tongue oil, I get 5 points in the same time. That's a 5 times efficiency difference. The oil isn't just helpful, it's practically mandatory for serious progress. Giant bear breathing method LV2, 37/300ths. I stop early because my body still isn't fully recovered. Can't risk injury from overtraining. Gotta get more black tongue oil. Shadya has my supply at the manor. Next morning, I head to Habsburg Manor to find Shadya, and the first thing I notice is that security has gone through the roof. Guards everywhere. Doubled patrols. The whole place is locked down tighter than a dragon's treasure vault. Makes sense. A ferocified monster ate students inside the perimeter. The manor's reputation is on the line. I find Shadya in the castle, still wearing her signature black maid uniform, and I have never smiled in my life. Expression. Though she does crack a micro-smile when she sees me before immediately reverting to stone face. You're here for the black tongue oil? Yes, headmaid Shadya. I figured you'd come soon. Training hasn't been rescheduled yet. Knight Lloyd is worried there might be more gnolls in the area. She leads me through the castle's stone corridors, turning left, turning right, deeper into the building than I've ever been. We arrive at her private quarters on the first floor, and just as she's opening her door, my ears pick up something from the other end of the hallway. Clang, clang, clang. The unmistakable rhythm of hammer on hot metal. Someone is forging something nearby. That sound is as familiar to me as my own heartbeat now. And it's coming from inside the castle. The castle blacksmith shop. The one Boris told me about. The one with a stockpile of special minerals. The one that could rocket my blacksmith class to the next level. It's right. Down. The hall. My eyes start glowing. Headmaid Shadya. Is that a blacksmith shop down the hall? Shadya pauses mid-door opening and nods. Yes. Why? Are you interested? Am I interested? I'm practically vibrating. But I play it cool. Haha, a little. Is Master Barl working there too? Yes. Barl handles daily equipment forging. There's also Basil, who specializes in weapons. And the shop's supervisor is Snell. He's a disciple of Master Valentin from the county capital and specializes in armor forging. Master's disciple. Weapons specialist. Armor specialist. 3 blacksmiths with different expertise, all under one roof, working with the noble family's collection of rare materials. My ears are basically doing backflips. Is Snell an armor smith? I ask, zeroing in on the juiciest keyword. Not yet, but he's expected to pass the Blacksmith Guild exam by year's end. Almost there. A soon-to-be certified armor smith, with access to rare ores. Inside a castle I already have access to. This is like discovering a secret dungeon full of experience points right next to your spawn point. Shadya, do you know Snell personally? Could you maybe introduce us? The instant I say, Snell, I notice something fascinating. Shady's cheeks turn the faintest shade of pink before she catches herself. This stone-faced, emotionless, professional to the bone head maid just blushed at a man's name, filing that information away for later. But then her expression snaps to displeased. She fixes me with a stare that could freeze lava. Rain. A person's energy is limited. I expect you to focus on your night breathing method training. Don't spread yourself thin and waste Lady Clea's investment in you. Ouch. She's not wrong, from a normal person's perspective. Serious knight candidates dedicate virtually all their time to breathing methods and combat training. Dabbling in blacksmithing looks like a kid getting distracted by shiny objects when he should be studying for finals. But what Shadya doesn't know is that my hobby directly feeds my combat power. Leveling my blacksmith class gives me attribute points and core skills that make me a better fighter. The two paths aren't competing, they're multiplying each other. I can't explain this without revealing my system, so I just stand there looking like a scolded puppy while my introduction to the castle blacksmith shop dies a quiet death. Here's your black tongue oil. Shadya hands me a small black bottle. Conversation closed. I take my oil and leave. Dreams of rare mineral identification will have to wait. Back home, I crack open the bottle. That familiar medicinal musky aroma fills the room. Spread the warm amber liquid on my knees and shoulders, and dive into breathing method practice. With oil, it's like training in high definition. I can feel every muscle fiber, every breath pattern, every subtle shift in my body's internal energy. Half an hour later, congratulations. Your constitution attribute has improved. Constitution jumps from 6 to 7. But this time it's only constitution, no strength boost like last time. Makes sense. My strength is already at 10, way ahead of everything else. My constitution was lagging at 6, so the breathing method naturally prioritized the weakest physical stat. It's like water flowing to the lowest point. The body fixes what needs fixing most. 3 days pass. No word from the manor about resuming training. Apparently Knight Lloyd is worried there might be more gnolls lurking nearby. Fair concern. Where there's one ferocified monster, there could be a whole pack. I'm not complaining. These 3 days are productive. Daytime, blacksmith shop, grinding horseshoe forging and ore identification. Nighttime, giant bear breathing method with black tongue oil. Results, blacksmith LV1, 52/100. Breathing method LV2, 51/300. I desperately want to practice giant bear swordsmanship too, but I have no greatsword and no suitable training space near my house. Swinging a 7-foot blade in the backyard while mint and Anna plant carrots would raise some questions. Tuesday morning, a guard in chainmail knocks on my door. Rain, Sheriff Hamilton wants to see you. He's at the administrative hall. I head over immediately. I've been trying to check on Hamilton for 2 days, but kept being told he went to the county capital for medical treatment. I knock, enter, and find Hamilton at his desk in his usual hunting outfit. But his face is pale, and I can smell medicinal herbs. The same scent from the apothecary shop downtown. Sit down, Rain. Sir, how's your recovery? Should have been healed by today, but that gnoll's claws carried some kind of special energy that made the wounds a pain to treat. Need about another week. He waves off further health discussion and gets straight to business. I called you here because we have an urgent situation. Remember those evil fin fishmen I mentioned before? The ones spotted upstream from Shimmer Lake. Oh no. Yesterday, my scouts reported that they've expanded their territory to within a few miles of the lake. If we don't push them back now, before they reach the lake and lay EGGS, we'll have a full-scale fishman infestation in our drinking water supply. So let me get this straight. The town sheriff, who is currently injured and operating at reduced capacity, needs me to help deal with an aquatic monster invasion threatening the entire town's water supply. Last week I was trimming donkey hooves. Now I'm being deployed against fishmen. This is either the fastest career progression in history or the fastest way to get eaten by something that smells like low tide. Probably both. I need you to take a squad of night watchmen and go clear out these stinking fish creatures. Or at least push them back upstream. Once I'm healed next week, I'll personally lead a full extermination. Hamilton's face is dead serious. Shimmer Lake is the town's only water supply. If fishmen contaminate it, Hamilton takes the blame. And a sheriff who lets his town's drinking water turn into monster soup doesn't stay sheriff for long. I think it over quickly. Fighting fishmen? Actually, not bad. My night watchman class is at 87 out of 100, 13 points from leveling up. A real combat mission could push me over the edge. And according to Hamilton, these fishmen are basically the tutorial enemies of this world. But I'm not going in blind. Sir, what's their combat strength? Relax. Intelligence says it's just a small tribe. Most fishmen are individually weaker than militia soldiers. The problem is their numbers and how fast they breed. They're like weeds. You mow them down and they grow right back. Also, if they sense they're losing, they dive underwater and hide. So the strategy is lure them away from the riverbank first, then smash them when they can't retreat. Fishmen that are weaker than militia, I'm a night watchman with strength 10, and I'll have a squad backing me up. This is basically a paid leveling session with bonus public safety benefits. I'm in, but I need a proper weapon, a greatsword. Can I borrow one? Ha! A greatsword, huh? Come with me. Hamilton gives me this look, half amused, half knowing, that I don't understand until we walk into a small armory behind his office. Swords everywhere. Short swords, long swords, hand-and-a-half swords, and, sitting alone on a rack like it's been waiting for someone worthy, one greatsword. Hamilton pulls it down and hands it to me. The moment my hands close around the grip, I know this weapon is special. About 40 pounds. Blade length just over 4.5 feet. Single blood groove running down the center. Perfect for the giant bear swordsmanship guard technique. Cross-shaped guard. Pommel weighted with a small counterbalance ball engraved with the Night Watch insignia. A figure holding a sword and torch with a bow on its back. And the blade. White forging patterns shimmer along the cutting edge, the telltale sign of high-quality tempered steel. This isn't a mass-produced grunt weapon. This is a refined steel greatsword, the kind that costs more than 15 gold coins. Regular iron swords cost a few silver, and every town blacksmith can hammer one out. But a quality greatsword? You need premium steel, expert craftsmanship, and a master-level blacksmith. This blade is in a completely different universe from the training swords I've been using. Hamilton watches me examine it with barely concealed amusement. The Night Watch hasn't had a greatsword user in quite a while. This one's from my personal collection. Then I realize why he gave me that look earlier. He saw me use giant bear swordsmanship against the knoll. He knows I use two-handed techniques. He had this greatsword ready before I even walked through the door. This man planned this entire conversation. The Fishman mission, the weapon offer, it was all choreographed to get me maximum invested. Brilliant manipulator. Terrifying boss. 10 out of 10 would work for again. Like it? He asks casually. Like it? It's incredible. What I'm thinking, I would marry this sword. I would build it a house. I would write it poetry. Tell you what, clear out those fishmen, and the greatsword is yours. Consider it a gift. Also a bonus reward for helping kill the ferocified knoll. Free? He's giving me a refined steel greatsword for free. I try to refuse out of politeness, but my hands are physically refusing to let go of the weapon. My fingers have made their own decision, and they've chosen sword ownership. Thank you, sir. Back at his desk, Hamilton pulls out 2 documents. First one, your official Night Watch enrollment papers. Sign here. Done. Easy. I'm now officially a member of the Imperial Night Watch. Government employee Reincarnated, reporting for duty. Second one, the merit record for your participation in killing the ferocified knoll. Details your role, your actions, your contribution. Already co-signed by myself and 2 squad leaders. This goes into your permanent file as merit points, which also count toward future promotions. I read through it carefully. It's thorough. Every detail of the battle, my specific contributions, the timeline of events. Signed by 3 senior officers as verification. I sign it happily. Once the paperwork processes, you'll be an official member of the Imperial Night Watch forces. Congratulations. The honor is mine, Sir Hamilton. Then a thought hits me. Merit points. Exchangeable rewards. If this system works anything like military commendations. Sir, can merit points be exchanged for things other than promotions? Like, say, ferocified beast meat for training purposes? Hamilton's eyebrows rise. Then he grins. Absolutely. Merit points can be exchanged for quite a variety of useful items. Ferocified beast meat. Like the rage bear meat Clea gave me. The super nutritious magical protein that turbocharged my breathing method training. If I can earn that through combat missions instead of relying on noble patronage. However, Hamilton raises a finger. I wouldn't recommend spending your first batch of merit points on beast meat. He pauses with a mysterious smile. Wait, if not beast meat, then what? What could possibly be more valuable for my training than magical super protein? That smile on Hamilton's face tells me he has something specific in mind. Something he thinks I'll like even more. My curiosity is burning. But Hamilton clearly enjoys dangling information like a cat toy, watching me reach for it. This man is my boss, my mentor, my arms dealer, and my psychological tormentor all rolled into one. And I just signed a contract to work for him forever. What have I gotten myself into?